BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts.
Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Man, what's poppin'? Man, listen. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Salute to the mighty Who Dat Nation. We up in this thing, man. It's Hump Day edition of the Coma. So big ups to you, fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the live. Michael, thank you, fam, right away. He says, I think Lattimore will be motivated. That's right, brother. Thank you for that. Thank you. Fuck too kind. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you on that. Much love from brother Michael Morgan. Shout out to the fam. Roll, Charlie Dog, Big Velly, Greg. Shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all being in the live. As we get going on this episode of the Coma, man, listen, man, this one's the Saints Wednesday wrap up. And this is, of course, the first day the Saints have the official injury report. We got that on screen. Coach Rizzi had his press conference. He talked about not putting Derek Carr on the IR and about possibly having Carr available for the remaining, or having the option of going to Derek Carr when they need him, because at some point at the end of the year, they figured that Derek Carr would be healthy enough to contribute, thus the decision early on to not place him on IR, even though the Saints did pick up or sign a quarterback to the practice squad the other day. And of course, when you see that happening, you know, that's usually not a good decision. You know, that's usually what that involves is Carr might be out for a little bit. So, and like I said, man, it's also a very interesting component because it also serves the fact that the New Orleans Saints are playing it close to the vest because they know they got the Commanders looking, saying who the Saints is going to select at the quarterback position. So Rizzi playing a little chess, not checkers, and trying to mix up who the QB will be so that the Washington Commanders have to prepare for both. And they're hoping to kind of have some idea, you know, kind of throw that at them. So I understand that as well. So anyway, y'all know about the signing of Ben DiNucci, who was a former Bill, former Cowboy, that the Saints added to their practice squad. They also re-signed Kyle Hergel to the practice squad. They cut and released Hergel. He's back to the practice squad. Saints add a QB just in case. So and he would more than likely, when the game against the Commanders happened, DeLucci will probably end up being the emergency quarterback. So it's a plan, and I get it, man. And it's just one of those things where we just have to watch out to see what's going on with the Saints. 4 remaining games in the season, and the Saints have some difficult ones, especially the next 2. Out of the next 4, I would say the Saints have 3 of the next 4 are very difficult games, especially the enormity of the last game of the regular season. That's going to be astronomical as well, because that could potentially, decide who the winner of the NFC South will be. So we'll see how that all flips and turns, man. But at the end of the day, man, it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, to see how all this stuff equates, as I kind of adjust my mic right here. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I'm not going to tell you no difference. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of the people, well, let me do this, man. We got a poll that's in the chat right now for the family members. Please feel free to check out that poll. Please feel free to check out that poll and give me your thoughts on who you guys think will win this week, this game here. Right now, as it stands, 57% 57 people believe. Damn, the Who Dat Nation is very brutal, isn't it? But honest. Be honest with you. And who wins this week? Saints 17%. It dropped to 16%. Versus 62% and 23%. They got more people I don't know than people that's picking the Saints. The only question is, if I didn't put I don't know on that poll, would those 20-something odd percent of the people, who would they would have voted for? Who y'all think? It probably would have went to the Commanders, huh? Either you know or you don't know, baby. If we didn't have a I don't know option, that would have been all Commanders picks. So it would have been up in the 80, 79, 80% percentile, right? If they didn't have a I don't know category. 50, almost 60% of the people said, nah, Q, they ain't got this one, man. Why? Let's hear from you guys. Tell me, why do you feel that way? To all of my family members, 60% of the family that in the poll chose to say, hey, man, the Commanders going to win. Let me know. Put it in the poll. Tell me why you feel that way. Right? Derek Carr's not there. Is that why you guys feeling that way? You thinking without Carr, the Saints don't have a shot to beat the Commanders? Because do you think the defense will not be adequate enough to slow down Jaden Daniels? Why do you feel that way? Let me know. What's up, Desi? Shout out to my girl, Desi. Big ups to Mr. O Universe. How you doing, sir? Appreciate you. Who that to you? Quavadia, shout out to you, my brother. I see you out there, man. Much love. Appreciate you, brother Arvin. Big ups to you, Mr. Marvin. How you doing, sir? All right, the emotional fan. Who that? Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Saints win the division. Oh, that driver. Oh, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Good to see you, bro. How's everything going, man? Hope you're doing all right, my brother. All right, hi, brother Slim is always in there representing. Shout out to my brother Slim South 504. Brother Marvin says, Q, Saints not winning. Offense is boring, but Carr's not there. Carr's not there, right? Carr's not there. Now, listen, fam, listen. I give credit where credit is due. We watched the all 22 on Patreon on Tuesday. Yesterday, we did our Patreon special. And, I got to say, man, the offense is not imaginative, right? You can see it's quite a few plays which are not cerebral challenging, should I say, right? Very vanilla. And it's very repetitive. You got a good 5 to 6, 7 plays that he really likes, that he runs at least 4 to 5 times per game, especially in the game against the Giants. And I can tell you the one favorite play they like a lot. That is the misdirection toss with Elvin Kamara going either left or right, and then Carr rolls out to either or side, depending on which one. He rolls to the opposite side that they might misdirect into. Y'all know what play I'm talking about. That's the favorite play of Clint Cool. Got to be. And the second favorite play where he can't run it anymore because Taysom's hurt was the play where he turns Derek Carr into a wide receiver and Carr just runs off to become a wide receiver and Taysom's the ball. That was another one he just kept running over and over again. And I was like, man, where are you told me your offense had layers. It had phases. We have what, 4 games remaining. Where are the advanced levels of this so-called offense? Where is it at? All I'm seeing is the same plays ran over and over again. Like 4 or 5 plays that just over and cycle over and over. I'm like, wow, what? That's why the offense is still. And if we can see that, the Giants seeing it too. So you have to, I know people like, well, Clint Kubiak is not challenging to the imagination, and that is true. He is. If people throw the stats at me, say Q, this, that, and the third about the stats, and I hear you about the accuracy. Never mind the fact it's a lot of check down throws that crease up the see, you cannot you can't tell something to nobody that did the research. Like, it's certain things you can hear. It's like, hold on, you have how many? I mean, at least a good 8 to 11 throws that were check down throws that automatically raises the accuracy level up of your statistics. When it comes down to getting the ball or forcing the ball up the field intelligently, not just throwing the ball down the field, but actually making an intelligent shot, finding the right people to throw, I don't think the offense is challenging enough. Like, it's a very dull, bland system that needs revamping. You're not going to be in any defense that got a brain. I'm just going to be honest with you. They're going to figure out what you do and shut you the hell down. That's what the Giants, that's the biggest takeaway from the Giants game that I seen. Right, hold on, fam. I'm sorry. Let me turn this damn thing now. There we go. But this is the thing. Like, the biggest takeaway, and I'm going to let this go because, we on to the Commanders, but the biggest takeaway from the Giants game is the fact that the Giants showed the Commanders how you stop the Saints. And what they did was they slowed the Saints down from running the football. I don't think Alvin Kamara had 50 yards in this game, the past game, did he? It wasn't nearly as close as what we've seen AK-41 usually put up. It wasn't nearly as close. So at some point you look at it and you say to yourself, man, wow, they gave the Commanders the game plan, one NFC East team to another. They say, hey, man, slow down, Alvin Kamara, and the Saints running game, make the quarterback beat you. And they almost did it, too. They almost did it. But anyway, we escaped with one, but the whole thing is learning from our mistakes and getting better. I did like our defense. Our special teams need a little work. Our offensive play calling outside of quarterback play, because Carr, a lot of, I don't know, it's just the third down throw, the third down plays. I had a chance to look at all those third down plays where, the failed drives, the stall drives, unintelligent football, checking down, impatient to allow plays to develop despite the fact that there's no pressure. The inability, that was what I seen, the inability to allow the play to develop before going to the check down, because you had plays up the field. The tape shows it. But that's why you study film. You study film so that you can improve upon those things. So what does the next guy give you that your 11-year veteran is not going to give you? Obviously, he has the experience, right? The big gun for the arm and all this kind of rhetoric. But you have, either in my estimation, even though the call hasn't been made, I strictly believe that it will be Spencer Rattler, simply because that's what it has been, right? We're not talking about games where you had him as an emergency quarterback. We heard Coach Rizzi talk about that the other day. We're going to play some of him in a minute, but we're not going to blur the line because Carr's been in, he's gotten banged up since he's been here. He's been He's been hurt hard here. He been the last couple of days, or rather days, feel like days, but years, man. He been getting a lot of hardcore stuff happening to him. He been injured, a lot of hardcore injuries. It ain't been a smooth 2 years. So at the end of the year, you go into your breakdown on how does it look? Has this $150 million experiment been worth its weight in gold, or maybe the opposite? That's when you can go into it. Some people can tell me that right now. But yeah, that's one of the takeaways is you slow the Saints running attack down and you make the quarterback beat you. That's what the game plan is going to be with the Washington Commanders. They're going to try to mimic what the Giants do, except their offense is not as inept as the Giants offense is, Freudian slip right there, but and they got some junk going on too, by the way. But yeah, that's the part of the game that you got to watch out for. That's something I see. Marvin says, just because Q, why not? But please play clean up, man, and call it a night. All right. Thank you, bro. All right. Thank you, brother. Hold on. Let me get the cleanup. That's what get it going, though. There you go.
But I'm the cleanup man.
Did it play? Oh, here we go. Hold on. Here
Call me Santa friend, but I'm the cleanup man.
The cleanup man. He'll sweep your girlfriend off her feet. The reason I know so much about him is because he's moved up an old girl of mine.
Swept her right off her feet and into the jag.
All right, that's it's always good. They see Zion rocking that Versace, man, and that's why Zion is hurt. He in the videos dancing. That's how he earned the extra money, because he damn sure ain't getting it on these contracts because he ain't. He wanted a new agency to renegotiate the contract that he signed that's heavily stipulated with clauses that are designed to keep your weight down. And it comes with playing time restrictions. If you play a certain amount of games here, you get this amount of money. You play this amount of games, you get this kind of money. You get this, and it up and up. It's incentives. Now, that helps the Pelicans out big time. They had no problem giving Zion that contract. Now, Zion is second thinking. So you let that be a lesson to all of the future stars of both football and basketball, man. Read your agreements. And if you was a real professional, they wouldn't make you sign that contract. Just to keep it in a whole way buck. A lot of people don't like LeBron, but you can't say nothing about LeBron James' workout regimen. You can't say a damn thing about LeBron workout regimen. LeBron is what, 39, 40 years? I forgot how old he is. I know he in his 39, 40 years old or some crap like that. And he outplaying guys is literally half his age. That goes into your seriousness about your craft. You don't have to do anything else but wake up and work out. That's what, and eat right. And that helps extend your life. So basically what it do is somebody paying you money, good money, to play a game that you absolutely love, right? And also paying you money to stay healthy, which would indeed increase your life to help you live longer and play a game that you love. That's a win-win everywhere. Anyway, but big ups to y'all, man. Appreciate you. Desi says the entire division will get mollywopped the first round of the playoffs. Yes, indeed. All right. Yeah. Harvard says, who's starting this week? I haven't heard it. It's either Rat. He's not saying anything. He already said we'll play the press conference. He said he'll let that be known later on in the week. And he's basically doing that to kind of, confuse the Commanders who are trying to prepare. It forces them to prepare for Hayner and Rattler. And he hoping that gives them an advantage right there of against that team. Now it could very well any advantage you can get insofar as a legal advantage, and you're not revealing your quarterback too soon, like what Dennis Allen did several weeks ago when he just told him who it was going to be at the start of the week. Well, Rizzi's not making that same mistake, so it's good to see that he's learning on the job. All right, Desi says with Carr we still don't have a chance. All right, Desi, I got you, baby. Quavadia says, even with Carr, they didn't have a shot Q. All right, okay. Marvin says, offense, no identity. We've seen both QBs, and yes, Carr would give us a chance. Well, you're saying based on the young quarterbacks. And you're absolutely right. That's a great point there, Marvin. That's something we hit on here. What is the offensive identity of the Saints? What are we? Even if we're not, let's just take offense out of it. What is the identity of the New Orleans Saints? What do we do? What are we? You know, that's a question that you're not a balanced team. You know, I guess you would be more run than you would be pass, but you really are not a dominant run team. You know, we had all 5 starters, and listen, that tape was horrible on these starters, fam. Let me tell you something. We had 5 starters there, and they look rusty. All of them look bad. They look bad on that tape. They look awful on that tape. It was repetitive. Cesar, Salad, Ruiz all over the place. He done came back, y'all. He done some kind of way snuck back in the building. Cesar, Salad, Ruiz was live and direct on that tape. Eric McCoy looked rusty. Even Tanu wasn't handling his business. Penning was getting beat. Lucas Patrick was late as usual. And they were getting it handed to him by that unknown giant defensive line. They just didn't look clean. And I can give them the rust factor for a game, but man, they got to clean that up. They have to clean that up big time, man. They got to clean it up. All right. Jacob says mobile QB. What's up, Hurricane Mike? How you doing, sir? What's up, Toy? Shout out to you, my man. Appreciate you. Brother Hakeem, how you doing, my brother? Good to see Brother Hakeem representing the Who Dat Nation. Good to see you, my brother. Hope everything going all right for you out there, man. P-Mac says we can't stop the run, and the Commanders got a good running game. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So you're not P-Mac, you're not the least bit swayed by the Saints' better play on defense over the last couple of games, perhaps? Is that kind of helps sway your opinion a little closer towards the Saints getting a dub? You know, I don't know. English, what's happening, fam? Good to see Brother English in this thing. Hakeem says Daniels is better than all our QBs. He says, can't take my Saints in this one. It's any given Sunday, but not this Sunday. Who that for life? Thank you, Brother Hakeem. That's a real supporter there, man. Sometimes you got to put the team down. You know, you got to be here, man. And Brother Hakeem says Kubiak is terrible at second half play calling. Yes, indeed, brother. Brother Hakeem knows his game, man. We say that, bro. It's like this dude can't adjust. His not just play calling, bro, adjustments. Have you noticed that? His adjustments? Not to be down on him, but I'm just saying, I don't know these guys, right? All I know is what I observe and we see on tape. This is what I'm saying. All of what I'm saying is backed up by film because I really don't have no horse in the race in terms of who these guys are, whatnot. You're here to do such and such and all this kind of stuff. All I see is what I see with the Saints offense. Like people saying they're stuck in the mud. The offense flicks on and off. It's certain drives that they look like they got it. Other drives, like some drives I've seen, recent drives where the Saints look like they score by accident. The touchdown drive with Carr, he was in a rhythm. He got the pass. The touchdown to Juwan Johnson, that was a good read. But what I don't like about Derek Carr, the key thing, because I do like a lot of things about Derek Carr. I really do. The big thing I don't like about Derek Carr, outside of the fact that he doesn't always point this out, and I can see why he doesn't, because he's not a guy that you can aim criticism at. He gonna run from the criticism. Now, don't get me wrong. There have been times when he's taken responsibility, but it's not all the time. It's not all the time. And I'm not talking about the Raider years and all that. I'm talking about exclusively what I've seen as Saints, as Derek Carr, the Saint, not the Raider guy. I care nothing about that guy because this is who we have now. He's an older guy. He's been accruing. He's been getting some really tough injuries. And sometimes he looks a little gun shy. But the biggest critique I have on Derek Carr is he gets stuck on the same side of the field too much. If you look at last week's tape, I would have to say conservatively, at least 70 to 75% of the offensive pass plays, the plays that wasn't design plays where he didn't read anything except for man goes in motion and he turns and fires it to him. Whether that was an extended run play where he finds Elvin Kamara to set up the screen run, or there are design plays that Kubiak has where he doesn't read anything. He just turns and fires. Now, listen, I understand what you're trying to do because some of these plays are designed to create a rhythm, right? I'm not talking about those plays. I'm talking about the plays where he's required to read the defense. At least 70, I'm going to say conservatively, 70 to 75% of those plays, according to the tape, you've seen him staring down one side or the other. I don't think there was no more than 2 or 3 times, probably less than that I actually seen him pump fake. That's a problem, because what it does is it sends the safeties right to that wide receiver because they're already looking at his eyes, and he sends them right there every time. That's why people was mad about him several weeks ago about the Olave thing. Like he had nothing to do with that. Yes, you do. When you look at guys and you send the safety is going to follow your eyes to the ball, and they're going to do what they are trained to do, which is dislodge the ball from the player. That's what they do. But 70 to 75% of the time I've seen him get stuck on this side or that side. And then if you look at the tape, there's weapons, options that are better on the side that he's not looking at, which means he's not going through his progressions, which is a fatal flaw for a veteran quarterback that's old, that's college rookies or, young quarterbacks do, where they just don't get they don't go through the rotations. They don't go through the progressions. And the progressions is just looking at your options, getting a full view of your options so you can make the correct pass. And the Saints at time did a wonderful job of protecting him. And then there was a 15 to 20% of the plays that I witnessed where he had an opportunity, like he had good, where the wide receivers were streaking. And there were 3 guys, like they'll show 3 check down wide receivers, Elvin to be in front of them. You'll have one over here, one over there, and then you have guys streaking. And the defense is playing off, right? They're playing zone, they're playing off and leaving those guys open for you. And instead of you reading the defense with the zone that they're giving you and waiting for the play to develop to see where they'll be at, he goes to the check down. You go to the check down, and this will be on money downs. Like some of those drives, he checked it down. There was one where he scrambled out and got on his feet, and there was a play where he was running to his right side, and he had a wide open Kevin Austin Jr. there, and he threw it at his feet. So, like I said, it's the IQ of the game. That's the problem I have when you get stuck on one side of the field or the other. And if you're 11-year veteran doing that, there ain't going to be one dude that's going to come along and whip that out of you, especially if you in and out of the lineup with injury, because he was actually doing a decent job of going through his progressions early on. That's why the weeks 1 and 2 looked good, because the play action was working. He was going through his progressions straight out of training camp. But when that injury hit, all of them bad habits, that reset everything. It's going to take you, like if you've been doing this for the majority of your career and you just started doing this because you got this new offensive coordinator here, then what's going to end up happening is when you lose time, you miss out on time, that all resets and you're going to go back to what you was. You're going to be reset back to what you was programmed to be for all those years. So you're going to exhibit a lot of those bad character flaws, which none of them ever talk about. They never talk about the sticking on one side of the field, the staring down of this guy over here, there. They never talk about that. And if you study and film, you're supposed to see that and say, man, listen, I got to stop doing that because that's going to get us beat. That's how Jesse Bates can pick you off, because they just read your eyes. He's very pickable. They just, because it's no trickery involved. It's nothing complex. He's staring where he wants to go, and the guy just has to have the recognition and the speed to get there, to get to the ball. But most of the times he feel like he can make the throw because he got a gun for an arm. He's a gunslinger. So he thinking, I see that guy, but I'm gonna whip this thing right here before that guy can get to it. And sometimes it gets him in trouble. But that's a fatal flaw. That's what I'm saying. When you play better teams with better defenses that have a high IQ collectively, you're gonna get beat with that. you're going to get beat. And he still don't have a firm grasp of the offense, like I said. And a lot of times you see Taysom Hill was used as an appeasement tool because when he struggles on third down, they just put Taysom Hill in there and Taysom go do his Fred Flintstone thing. Start running over this, doing that third. And that's, I'm telling y'all that's what when he couldn't move the ball on third down, they sent Taysom Hill in the game. Taysom go get the third down conversion. That's how they were able to move around it. But Taysom's not here. He's not there anymore. So how do you do? But that's the biggest thing in terms of what I see from him. But I don't know what you do about that. I mean, you got a guy, this man been in the league for a long time. I don't know how you change that. I don't know how, I don't know how you do that. I mean, I guess the first thing you do, you start with accountability and say, hey, man, this is a major problem, I guess, All right. Shout out to OG for being a member for 6 months. OG in the building. What's up, OG? Brother Jerry. Much love to my brother Jerry. All right, fam. Well, big ups to y'all, man. I see y'all commentary. Listen, man, Derek Carr, like him or lump him, bro. He tried to make a play the other day and it cost him a lot. But in the end, this is a very interesting thing we got going on down here, man. Very interesting, this whole thing. I mean, it's definitely something to study when the season over with. It'll be his third year coming into it, and you're going to want to try to start looking at this thing and seeing, was this a good deal? Was this, worth his weight in gold, or maybe worth his weight in something else that don't smell as good or pleasant as gold, that you can't cash in like gold? Maybe that was it. But then again, maybe some people do cash. Somebody do use it for gold. So I guess it's brown gold to some people. Anyway, here go the Saints Wednesday injury report for week 15 up against the Washington Commanders. 6 Saints listed on the injury report, man. Derek Carr, left hand and concussion is DNP'd. He will not play. I'm making the call that Derek Carr won't play in this game. They will not put Derek Carr on the IR, that I believe, family, because I think more than likely the Saints see it as a person that, they look at Derek Carr as potentially being able to play later on in the year. Because if you put him on IR, it's 4 games, that's over with. He'll be lost if he can make a charge or whatever. This is what Rizzi's thinking, not me. But Rizzi's thinking is, man, we can't put him on IR because there's 4 games left. That'll take him out for the rest of the season. So we're just going to kind of have to just, basically keep him there, and in the hopes that he heals up to try to help you later on in the year, and the Saints could continue to win out. The goal is, whether you agree upon it or not, the Saints have to win out for the rest of the year to have a chance, and perhaps things fall the way they need to fall for the Saints. Perhaps, that's the idea. The ideology is to 1 game at a time to the end of the year, and the best thing they can do is finish 9-8. They finished 9-8, but and say, well, Q, they're not going nowhere. If they win the next 4, as improbable as that sound to some, I'm just letting y'all know. And I'm not saying they're going to do it. I'm saying that there is still a slim chance for them to do this thing, right? It's not set in stone that they can, slim chance, finish out the year with a 4-game slot, a 4-game winning streak. These next 4 would be 5. But they'll finish 9-8. They do have a very interesting situation that does pop up, because they do play 3 teams out of the next 4 teams that are teams that are looking for that could potentially be in the playoffs. Those are your Commanders, that's the Packers, and the Buccaneers. All 3 of which that with a win can help you, especially against the Green Bay and the Washington Commanders, to have a tiebreaker about them, depending on how everything goes, right? So we'll just have to see how it all does. As slim as it is, man, we'll see. I don't know how it's going to turn out, fam. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know, man. I don't know. The Saints have been so topsy-turvy, how the behaviors, and it's just been a long season in many regards. But he's out. Derek Carr's DNP, that left-handed concussion situation. The linebacker, DeMarco Jackson, is also DNP with an ankle. Alvin Kamara was DNP'd. He had an illness. Juwan Johnson had a foot concern. He was limited. Bub Means is limited. Good to see Bub Means with that ankle. He's been out for several weeks now. Having Bub Means back with his, hopefully he'll be all right. We'll see how it looks, but we need another wide receiver, to help out with in our core. And Bub does, he's kind of gimpy with that ankle. We'll see what it is. He's limited. And Passanyo, Tanu Passanyo is fully practiced. This is the third straight week with Tanu Passanyo has been fully practicing, but hasn't been given any opportunity to be activated. And Coach Rizzi talked about that last week when he made mention of, I think he said it was a medical call on that. But this week, it'll be cool to have Tanu Passanyo just in time for Jaden Daniels in the running attack for the Washington Commanders. That'll be really good, especially how Brian Bresee is turning it on. And the Saints defense is turning up the pressure. They were getting pressure on the quarterback, forcing them out. They still had some issues in gap protection in terms of them allowing quarterbacks to leak out. We've been talking about this all season long. They have not been that good at it, and this is a serious concern for the Saints. Obviously, they're going to have to spy Jaden Daniels with Willie Gay Jr. That's obviously they're going to have to do something because Jaden Daniels is on another level with his speed and what he did at LSU. He was just terrific. He just takes games over. Man, the guy will throw for 300 yards, 300 to 400 yards, and run for 200 yards on you. And next thing you know, you turn around. What the hell happened? I mean, he'll take off on you in a moment notice. Very decisive, has accuracy. He's tall and long, which means he can find people up the field. He has a good deep ball that he can throw. I mean, the guy's a really good player. Like I said, he's a former LSU quarterback. We've seen a lot of his statistics. He took down Joey Burrow's stats, and a lot of stuff he did here was very positive. So the guy is a terrific quarterback to have, and it turned the whole Commanders' fortune around with his energy and his intelligence to the game, and they're going to get better, man. I remember seeing a video of him and Doug Williams shaking hands. I was like, man, that's a cool picture. He was just smiling away. He was shaking Doug Williams' hand. I was like, damn, look at that. The past meets the future. If they rocking with that, the Commanders going to be all right, man. They just have to build that team, build up that offensive line around them. And speaking of this, the Commanders, let's take a look at their injury concerns as well. Wide receiver Noah Brown, tight end Zach Ertz, defensive lineman Colin Farrell, all DNP with various injuries. Noah Brown has a kidney issue. Ertz has a hamstring, not injury-related rest period, so he might be actually able to play. Farrell has a knee, and they just gave him some rest. And then they got a bunch of other injuries. Their kicker's on that list with a left foot issue. He was limited. Safety Quan Martin was limited. And then, of course, Jamison Crowder, another one of their really good wide receivers, fully practiced from a calf issue. Dante Fowler, linebacker, defensive end type that gets a lot of pressure. He had a groin issue. He's fully practiced. You can see there are a couple of cornerbacks, and one noticeably, Marshawn Lattimore, since being traded, is looking to get activated against the Saints. Laddie Daddy I guarantee you won't miss this one for the world. Laddie Daddy wants to be in there against his former team, and he might very well be going. He's aiming for it. He fully practiced dealing with that hamstring issue. He'll be willing to go, and he'll be taking a look at Marshawn Lattimore in the Commanders' uniform, man. That's tough to watch, man. Laddie Daddy, super cool corner, all-time favorite cornerback. And I would dare say the greatest cornerback the Saints ever had. Y'all agree with me on that. Y'all tell me, nah, Q, he ain't the one. I would have to say Marshawn Lattimore probably is the greatest cornerback the Saints ever had. Are y'all in agreement with me on that? Do you guys think they had a better cornerback than Marshawn Lattimore? You probably have to go back a little bit. Uncle Paulie will be out there. He said, nah, Q, I got such and such. But Laddie Daddy's up there. If he's not number one, I would have to say he's probably the best cornerback we ever had. Very solid player for the Saints. It's kind of weird seeing him on that other side. A lot of family members agree and say, yeah, Q, yeah, he's the best. Yeah. Greg, DJ Philco, Brother Arvin, Desi, Rico, Jack. Yeah, they're saying, yeah, Q, I agree. Yeah. All right, but yeah, that was terrific, man, to be honest with you, man. I just it's just the part of the game, you know what I mean? So anyway, let's move on to the next thing, fam. Let's get this one here from NOLA.com. Saints wide receiver Chris Olave. How about that? I got a Chris Olave update for your ass. How about that? Trying to get back in the swing of things after concussion. This is coming from NOLA.com, Matthew Perez. Olave is technically eligible to come off of injury reserve, but the Saints elected not to open the 21-day window Wednesday as the wide receiver looks to recover from a concussion. Olave has missed the last 4 games after suffering his second concussion of the season in the November the 3rd loss to the Carolina Panthers. The 24-year-old, who's had 4 concussions in his 3-year NFL career, has since met with several specialists. Interim coach Darren Rizzi says, quote, doesn't think, end quote, Olave will return for Sunday's game against the Washington Commanders, but he didn't rule out the possibility he returns this season. Maybe not this game, perhaps against Green Bay. That'll be good. It'll be really good to have him against Green Bay, let me tell you. Quote, all options are on the table there, Rizzi said. I wouldn't close the door on that. I think Chris is in a much better place than he has been. I wouldn't say that that his season is completely done. I would say that let's see what the doctors and the specialists say and make sure that all is good there, and then we'll discuss that. He's starting to get some rehab stuff. He's starting to move around, so we'll see. He also said Olave is scheduled to meet with another specialist this week. The wide receiver has also attended practices as of late as an observer and traveled with the Saints for Sunday's win over the Giants at MetLife Stadium. He's trying to get back in the swing of things, Rizzi said. He's hitting meetings now. He's able to sit back in the meetings and do some of those things that the IR guys are allowed to do. So whatever meetings he's allowed to go to, all the weight room stuff he's allowed to do, all the rehab stuff, he's kind of following that protocol. So he's getting close to coming back. So the whole idea about Chris Olave being lost to the season appears to not be the case. It's only a matter of time before Chris Olave returns. So if not against the Commanders, perhaps against those Green Bay Packers, because you're going to definitely need him for the Packers matchup, to be honest with you, with Jordan Love and all these guys circling around, man. These next 2 games will let you know if the Saints are about the business that they've been talking about. These are some really good tests. Jaden Daniels Commanders and Jordan Love's Packers on the road 2 days before Christmas in Green Bay in the snow. It's probably going to be snowing up there. I know it's going to be cold as hell. So if you can get them 2, boy, you might be on something right there. You get them 2, baby. You get them 2. He might be on some good stuff right there, baby. Just letting you know that you might be doing some positive stuff right there. All right. Anyway, let's keep it moving, man. Let's hear a little bit here from, guess who? We got a Mickey week as Mickey Loomis made the rounds. I don't know if you guys have heard the latest Mickey BS press conference, but we will play a little bit of it and react to it live here as Mickey Loomis, was kind of talking, and we had softball brown noser extraordinaire Mike Hoss asking. Well, he doesn't ask questions. He just says statements, and then Mickey Loomis picks it up. It's the ultimate brown nose softball BS garbage interviews, which are just laughable at the very least. But this is a controlled interview where you have a reporter that works for the team who would not dare bite the hand that feed him, or not even bite it, but just be a do what reporters do, which is ask questions that the Who Dat Nation wants to know. But ultra instinct level brown nosing Mike Hoss is the boss in that situation. Let me tell you something. All right, so anyway, let's hear a little bit of the interview here, man. Y'all just hold on to y'all. If you got a weak stomach, I think you should go and use the bathroom, because whatever Mickey Loomis is probably going to say, it's going to probably make you throw up in your mouth. All right, y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear this. Here we go. All right, hold on. Let me see what's going on here. It's supposed to be playing. Hold on just a second, fam.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Saints Hour. Mike Hoss, along with Saints Executive Vice President and General Manager Mickey Loomis. At the end of the day, the Saints get to 5-8, go up to New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, win 14-11 for Coach Darren Rizzi, won 3 of his last 4, and that is the end of it, right? That should be the end, because I was thinking on the plane back, week 4, you completely outplayed your opponent. Lost by 3. Nobody cares. right? We're in week 15. Nobody cares, right? It's win or lose, period. Yes, there's things to work on. Yes, there were some positives, but in the end, man, it's a W.
That wasn't a question. You see what I'm saying? Now, that was designed to take the pressure off of the fact that the team barely beat one of the worst teams in the NFL. A win is a win, but it's how you win and how you lose that's also important too. It's how you win and lose. Now, of course, we everybody likes a win, but all wins and all losses are not equal. That's the thing, So you beat a team that was one of the worst teams in the NFL, and you barely beat them, which kind of makes a statement about you, right? Like if you go to a battle and it's between you and the Kansas City Chiefs and y'all battling, and the Chiefs go down there and kick a field goal and they win the game. You're like, man, the Saints battled them people, man. I'm good with that. They just wanted a little bit more. They got it. It's a little different. But anyway, y'all heard that? That's what I'm saying. The brown nosing. That wasn't a question. That was a statement, and Mickey Loomis jumps right on back of it. The dude's a brown nose.
By 3. Nobody cares, right? We're in week 15. Nobody cares, right? It's win or lose, period. Yes, there's things to work on. Yes, there were some positives, but in the end, man, it's a W.
Yeah, well, there's no asterisks behind the wins or losses. That's for sure. You hear the term ugly win, and look, call it whatever you want. It was a hard-fought game, and we made a play at the end of the game.
That's a shot at Bobby Hebert, because Bobby Hebert did something where he called it an ugly win. It was a boring game and an ugly win. So that's a shot at Bobby Hebert
to win the game. And I would say, look, for a really long portion of that game, we played really good on defense. We had our struggles on offense. We also had our opportunities, and so it's a win. That's the main thing here. Is the end result's a win.
What are some of the positives that you do take away from a game like that? Because there's so many. It actually kind of had been kind of different than the script that you had seen, where there had been these long drives, time eating, but you weren't able to come away with much other than field goals, where this got into the red zone twice, got into the end zone twice. What were some of the other positives that you would take away from this?
Well, it was actually 2 misses on the field goals that the Saints couldn't do, and there were 2 drives in which the Saints had 2 long-ass field goals from the kicker that he couldn't convert. So that's also something you got to look at.
Team points. It's kind of hard to find a lot of positive notes relative to the offense, but you're right. We were 2 for 2 in the red zone. That was positive. We led the time of possession. 30, almost 32 minutes to 28 minutes. Only gave up 2 sacks against 2 really good pass rushers on the edge against a rookie left tackle and a new right tackle in Trevor Penning, who swapped over to that side this year. Look, there were things that we did well, in the run game, but they get offset by the number of negative plays in the run game, and so that was discouraging, especially when you're back to full strength in the offensive line, and we've been a good running team up to this point, so that was a little disappointing. Defensively, man, I thought we did a lot of things really well. I think we dominated the line of scrimmage. Thought our pass rush was as good as it's been this year. We had a lot of pressure, a lot of tip balls, batted balls. I think between the batted balls and the PBUs, there were 13 times where we got our hands on a pass, and that was really positive. I think that the penalties, I think we had 6 penalties to their 12, so we were able to reduce that from where it's been. It was it's a tough game in the kicking game because, I don't know if it translated on television, but the wind was a factor and the elements were a factor in the kicking game.
Wasn't a factor against the Giants. whatever field goals they tried, they hit both. Matter of fact, one was taken off, but it wasn't no problem for the Giants to kick field goals. But there's no asterisk for the weather, is it? There's no asterisk for a win. A win's a win, but there's asterisks for bad weather that contributed to the Saints missing 2 field goals. I don't agree with that.
There were 13 times where we
Giants
got our hands
initiative.
on a pass, and that was really positive. I think that
It's the BS. It's the good and the bad. Like, he actually said something positive about the offense, right? Said that the offense was disappointing. They got all the starters back, and listen, the tape looked terrible. Let's just be honest. If you go watch all 22 and pay special attention to your offensive line, we did the study work on Patreon, and the offensive line was awful. Cesar Ruiz was Cesar Salad. He was Cesar Salad Ruiz, getting pushed around, not blocking. It wasn't a good look for the 5 starters. It was horrible tape. And John Benton needs to take that tape and beat him across the head with and say, bro, we can't do this. This defensive line for the Giants, it's an unknown bunch of people. They were able to constantly get penetration on the Saints offensive line, especially in the second half. They were constantly getting back there and stopping Elvin Kamara for losses. It wasn't easy. That's why they were forced. The game plan for the Giants was to force Derek Carr to beat them. Problem was the Giants offense wasn't competent enough to capitalize off what the defense the Giants were doing. The Giants defense was doing, But he's right on that. But then he makes an excuse for weather about why the Saints missed field goals. That's why I don't like.
I think we had 6 penalties to their 12. So, we were able to reduce that from where it's been.
Giants didn't have no problems kicking.
It was it's a tough game in the kicking game because, I don't know if it translated on television, but the wind was a factor and the elements were a factor in the kicking game.
It didn't stop the Giants.
But we made a big play at the end. Well-designed field goal block, and Brian Rizzi made it fantastically.
That's the video, fam, with the internet breaking up on there.
Peyton Turner, Nathan Shepard to get him free, and that was a great play at the end of the game.
Did you know? Can you tell by the alignment that play is coming? I don't know if you're on the field at that point. I mean, did you know that play was coming?
How are you gonna know that play
I didn't know. We've got several different field goal blocks.
How he gonna know that play coming, bro? How would he know that? He wouldn't know. Do you think they're gonna, hey, Mickey, we about to do the fake field goal? Well, go ahead and run it. Well, go ahead on it and say, hold on now. That's the clam chowder special. Yeah, well, go ahead and call it. Yeah, Rizzi. Go ahead and do the clam chowder special. And that's the fake field goal, right? How would he know? What kind of dumb question is that? How would he know that, bro? Out of all the questions in the world, did you know that was coming? Mike, how would I have known that, man? Oh, I was asking. Well, dude,
didn't know that was called because the alignment is can be different, but I don't know that you necessarily recognize that the jump's coming.
That's a no.
That particular play.
No, he didn't know
because those guys, I think they're pretty much aligned in that same formation a number of different times. But it was a great play and certainly timely, that's for sure.
Come on, Mike Hoss, man.
This is, and if you don't answer this, if you feel it's not in your best interest, but I'm wondering.
Don't answer this if it's not in your best interest. Then why ask the question if you don't want them to answer and tell you the truth?
Because of what Peyton and because of what Nathan have to do they almost let the officials know, look, I'm going to push him down. Do not call this. I'm not pulling him down. I'm doing exactly what the rule calls for so that they don't, because that's not something they can pick back up.
Yeah. Well, what happens is before the game, during the officials meetings, when they meet with the head coach will tell them what we have in relative to anything that might be unusual. And I don't know that Rizzi talked to the officials about this specific play, but he's very tuned in to the rules and the special teams. He's had a lot to do with the new kickoff rule, and so he's talked to officials lots of times. That it's a legal play. You can push down on the opponent. You can't hold them. You can't pull them, but you can push down on them, and that's exactly what happened on that play. So it was officiated correctly in our view.
And for Jake Kubas, you cannot pick up another human being and slam him to the ground in the middle of a play. That is illegal, which happened to Peyton Turner earlier.
That's what they call. And look, there's a fine line between finishing off a block and unnecessary roughness, and that's the difficulty of being an official in our league.
And only because you just said finishing off of that, because that in the end you were able to finish the game off. I don't care about the fourth quarter and the
the point is you finish off the game, but you don't care about the fourth quarter. Isn't that means that you need the fourth quarter to finish the game, Mike Hoss? I mean, I just don't understand sometimes, bro. I mean, what's really going on?
But and only because you just said.
And look, there's a
I don't care about the fourth quarter. Oh, you mean
fine line between finishing off a block and unnecessary roughness, and
this dude,
and that's the difficulty of being an official in our league.
And only because you just said finishing off of that, because that in the end you were able to finish the game off. I don't care about the fourth quarter. The stats leading into the fourth quarter were wildly one-sided, but finishing off a game that means something.
Making a play at the end of the game to win a one-score game is something that we've struggled to do in recent times, and so that was good to see. Now, I would say this: we went into the last 10 minutes of the game. I think they had 98 yards of offense. In the last 10 minutes, we allowed 162 yards. So that's not the type of finish you want after a good and a strong defensive performance. We had a couple of opportunities, I think, on fourth down in the last drive, or last two drives to get them off the field, and we didn't. So credit them. They made some big plays, but there's also some things that we can clean up and maybe not come down to having to block a game time field goal.
Back with Saints Executive Vice President and General, the fractured left hand, the concussion. So he's got a couple of things that will have to just get worked out through the week. I can't imagine on Tuesday a lot more than you did yesterday. Only that I would say, because of what you saw last year, he was one of 9 quarterbacks to start every game, and he got hurt in 3 games. He will do whatever it takes and whatever is possible to get out there as soon as possible. At least that much,
Yeah, look, if Derek's able to play, he will play. That's just in his nature, and the question for us will be not necessarily, when the time comes, isn't necessarily about whether he can, it's whether he should. And, we'll collectively make that decision with him, and we'll see where that goes. But we've got to clear some hurdles here first, and we'll see how the week goes.
And that's a good point. The question is not if he can, but should he? Well, if you look at the recent history of the Saints organization, they would usually err on the side of he should. And we know that we've seen him go through a myriad of different injuries. I remember they had the guy shot up with painkillers to the point where his eyes was bucking. He didn't know what planet he was on. Remember the one of the weirdest plays in the history of the NFL, in my opinion, that I ever seen, besides the play when the Saints had was running around. I think it was against Carolina, and Danny Awful Waffle got face mask, and he literally turned his helmet around on him, and he was running around with his helmet. He was running around with his helmet backwards. Y'all remember that? Man, the guy was running around with his goddamn helmet turned backwards. But the play with Derek Carr, the ball is snapped. It was in the Detroit game. Y'all know what play I'm talking about. One of the weirdest plays ever. The ball is snapped. Now, the ball is snapped. It's a pull play where the guard is passing over him. James Hurst's fingers inadvertently pokes the ball out of Derek Carr's hand. Derek Carr had the ball. He comes from up under center. There's a pulling guard. Hurst pulls. Hands like this actually tip the ball out of Derek Carr's hands. The ball falls underneath the center where the feet in the area where the center is. He just left. Carr did not stop and say, "Okay, hold on the ball." He proceeded to keep going into the motion like he was going to toss the ball to Elvin Kamara because it was a toss play toward the right side of the field. When he gets to the toss point, the point where you throw the ball to the running back, he pauses and looks at his hands like, where's the ball at? And the ball is 5 yards away from him. Then he looks and points at where the ball is on the ground. I was like, what? That was one of the supreme glitch in the matrix moments that I was like, how do you even justify that? How does a guy not know the ball is not in his hands? And he turns to the toss point and then looks at his hands, literally on tape, looks at his hands and then looks up and then points where the ball is. I was like, the guy's out of it, man. Out of it. Weirdest play ever I ever seen in my life, but it happened. Go back and look at that Detroit game. It was the first play. I'll tell you where it is. I'll timestamp it for you. It was the first play of the fourth quarter. It was the very first play of the fourth quarter when that happened. You know, when you won't go look it up, it is a very weird play. And
not surprisingly, like most teams would do, you wanted to get just another arm in camp. So signed Ben DiNucci, was a draft pick out of Dallas, was last with Buffalo. And I might as well just say it. If you need some, expertise, I watched him play 2020, the national championship game. He played for James Madison, took on Trey Lance in North Dakota State, lost on the final play of the game. Big DiNucci fan, finally got you a JMU guy, so I'm happy. But again, I'm kind of teasing, but certainly just a little insurance there, I would imagine.
Yeah, we just we like Ben. We like him from afar, and give us a chance to get him on the practice squad and get a look. And look, you're happy about it. Doug Miller's happy about it because he's a Pittsburgh guy, and so we'll go from there.
Well, there you go. Because I know that's how you start the day. How am I going to make Doug and Mike happy? And you did it with exactly one. Right. You did it with one move. That's pretty cool. That's rare.
Yeah, that is rare.
Kendre Miller. We've seen glimpses, but I felt like, and this is beyond the kind of 8-yard scrum that is just really the offensive lineman to push him, but you still got to have the powerful legs. But there are, +8, +8, +9, +7. That could have been +3 or 4, but you really kind of saw that little extra in him, whether it was a jump, a move, a power move, whatever. That had to have been very encouraging.
Yeah, look, we've known from the moment we drafted him that Kendre can run the football, and he's talented. His difficulty has been being available and being available for a stretch of time. He
would have been there if it wasn't for your homeboy Dennis Allen, wouldn't he?
A little bit of Deuce McAllister. Deuce would bang into a big pile like that, and was so powerful and strong he could stay on his feet and push the pile himself, along with help from some offensive linemen. I remember a number of times that he did that. And so that was a remarkable play, because I think he got hit probably about the 6-yard line.
You're right, exactly.
And was able to stay on his feet to about the 4, and then all of a sudden the whole offensive line, pushed him and carried him into the end zone. It was impressive.
No, I totally agree, because it was from the 8, got hit at the 6, so it was, and Fuaga was kind of the first to him. But again, if he's not on his feet, it doesn't really matter who gets to him at that point. And I'm just curious, because do you like the play? Let's say that had been at midfield, right? At some point, do they call the play dead, blow the whistles? Do you like kind of that scrum thing? I know it worked out Sunday.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously I liked it Sunday.
Do you like that scrum thing? Saints for Life says, Q, who was the guy that threatened a member of the media recently because they were talking about Mickey losing his job? I don't know, bro. I don't know who that was. Who was the guy threatened a member of the media recently because they were talking about Mickey losing his job? A guy that threatened a member of the media? I don't know who that is, bro. Y'all gonna have to enlighten me on that. I don't know who that was. You got me on that one, brother. I don't know who that was. Anybody can help out with that? Yeah, put it in the chat, fam, because I don't have that information. All right, Arvin says, I do think Kamara will still get 1,000 yards rushing this year with his ability to bounce off tackles and pick up yards despite the line. I do think so too, bro. I think that's a mission for him to get 1,000 yards because he's never done that before. And that's just so amazing because out of all the things Alvin Kamara has done for the Saints in terms of statistics and everything, all of the records that he holds, he's now the all-time leading rusher in Saints history. He will be here for, for the duration of his contract, which means he have an opportunity to add more yards on top of that. So he's just going to set it and forget it. But yeah, it's on his mind to get 1,000 yards. And he, like I said, when we started the season off, he's going to have his best year. At least that prediction has remained solid, right? Absolutely. Stacy, what's up, Stacy? How you doing, man? Says Q, I'm not a Saints. Yeah, I know, bro. You Ravens. I'm just listening to this man. I don't know how much about Mickey Loomis, but from what I'm hearing, he's clueless. Yes. Miss Benson's getting scammed. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy's a Ravens. Loves the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, man. But yeah, bro, yeah, see? Game is game, isn't it, Stacy? Yeah, he's like, she getting scammed. Oh, yeah. Well, not too much because he didn't want to fire his homeboy. He talked about Kendre Miller not being available, but lied by omitting the fact that his homeboy that we had to put in the street, and force Gale to fire was the reason why Kendre Miller was on that IR and he wasn't hurt. Dennis Allen put that man on there for no reason. For whatever little feelings he was going through, he put that man on there. But you didn't hear Mickey. Mickey said that, did he? Well, his problem has been availability. Well, Mickey, that guy, your homeboy, put him on that list and he wasn't hurt. Well, hold on now. That's a goddamn lie. Dennis Allen would never do that. He would never. Let me tell you. Hold on now. He would never do that. Listen, Q, you've got it all wrong. Let me tell you something, guy. Let me tell you something, big guy. You got it all wrong. Dennis Allen is the most affectionate, sensitive, awesome human being that you can ever meet. When he goes out in the woods, animals just walk up to him and they sit at his feet and they just stare at him. It's the weirdest stuff ever. And it's amazing. I seen a raven land on his arm. He just stuck his arm out like that. And he had a raven. At least I thought it was a raven. It landed on his arm. And he's like, hey, Mickey, you want it? It's like, I'm like, no, I don't like nature. So I left. I had a clam chowder date. But at the end of the day, you got it wrong. I'm like, yeah, he probably was doing that with nature because he's a possum. He's in tune. He's a possum. He looks like a possum. But yeah, let's go back to it.
I think the officials do a really good job in this area. When forward progress is stopped, they blow the whistle, but they don't do it until forward progress is stopped. And I don't think at any point was forward progress stopped on that particular play. And there's been others like that as well.
Ryan Rizzi, and we started, I guess a few weeks ago, we had talked about the show about, hey, who are the next stars? Who are the stars on your team? And you said, well, wait a minute. Let's look back at maybe Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, who's going to be on the show in just a little bit. And, it's unfair really to look at their first couple of years. Brian's in his second year, but it feels to me.
Let me pause that shenanigans and that he's supposed to be asking questions, but he's just fumbling over his stuff. Mad Drummer said, what about Gail Benson asking it to the Rock? She said, what about Gail Benson? Well, the report was the Rockets owner is interested in buying the New Orleans Saints. According to the reports, the Saints told them that the team is not for sale, and that was the case. But there's a strong and growing sentiment that Gayle should sell the team. Now, the thing is, how my opinion, if you want it, is this. Let's see what Gayle can do. Like she walked into this thing. It's a lot for her to. Tom Benson was grooming her, like in terms of taking her to these places, showing her the game, training her. She was going to all of the meetings in the NBA and football. She was taking notes, trying to learn what she needs to do. And his gift to her, outside of all of this money that he left her in these teams, was the staff that he believed would keep the winning going. But that was the plans of a dead man. No disrespect, but that man's dead. He's gone. This is a live, living entity that needs that same energy, that needs that ideas. And she should have assembled her own team. Now, word on the street is that she does have her own group. We don't know who these people are, but it is a bit of a divide that's happening because there is broken trust. When the owner tells you, and she's supposed to be listening to, and this was the first known, that's why this is so astronomical. And I was calling it out at the time. And I would caution the diehards and the faithful to do not look beyond this fact that we've not ever seen that in the administration of Gayle Benson, that there was an issue like this where she commanded Mickey Loomis, who she let run the team, to fire the head coach of the team to the chagrin of the VP and general manager's one person. That guy got a lot of power, he thinks, in that building. But it was the mighty Who Dat Nation that said, F yo couch. That's pretty much what happened. And she said, I don't care, fire that guy. And to his chagrin, he put him in the street. And that chapped his ass about you. For the faithful, the supporters of the team had more power than the guy holding the VP and general manager title of the New Orleans Saints, which is a $6+ billion operation. Think about what I just said and relish in your power. Mighty Who Dat Nation. Revel in that power, your stance of what you was able to do. And you can do a lot more. Think about what I just said. The guy has a lot of power he perceives in the building. He's the vice president of football operations and the general manager. He's the key decision maker. But the owner, who's worth over $6 billion, owns both Saints and Pelicans team. Listen to the supporters that says, we're not going to buy these tickets or any of your junk unless you put this guy in the street. And Mickey said, no, please, no. And she said, nope, fire that guy. And he fired him. And Mickey Loomis didn't like it. Matter of fact, his statement was Dennis Allen was fired because of pressure and stress and pressure, outside stress and pressure. If that was the article that they quoted him on, by outside pressure, stress and pressure, or pressure and stress. You could flip flop the words. It was something like that because we covered it on the show. He didn't let chapped his ass because he loves not listening to you, because he feels he's as the ultimate plan, that his plan can't fail. What he's doing is going to lead to wins, and that's what it is. And he's not going to adjust. And that's what happened. So when you did that, that pissed him off to show that you had that kind of influence over this owner that's rich. A $6 billion operation, family. Like I said, it don't mean nothing because we'll grind it to a halt. Didn't I say that? How many times y'all heard me say that? We'll grind this shit to a halt, all $6 billion worth of it, before we let you disrespect us. And that's the energy that we coming with all of these sports franchises and a lot more. We just exercising our power in sports right now, but everything else we coming for you. Let that marinate and seek into y'all mindsets and operate with that energy and power. Y'all don't hit me. Y'all ain't catch me. You ain't catch it. You ain't catch what I said. You, little old me and little old you grinded this shit to a halt and made them listen. When most of them were saying, the media was saying that won't happen. Oh, that won't happen. They hadn't fired a coach since such and such. I said, that shit about to change. Watch this and watch it indeed. And it's only the beginning. So like I said, man, they can play all them games, but yes, they need. Now the thing about Gail is this. Let's see what she do this year. Like this will show everything, because she's not on the hot seat, but people are looking at her in a different way this year because she did listen, because she's a people person and Gail's a socialite. She's a Southern Belle type. We said this all the time. She does all these soirees and these galas and these little things she goes to. She's a socialite. She's a social butterfly. So she loves meeting people. We know that about Gail Benson. She loved meeting people. She ain't a snob like Mickey Loomis. He's a snob that's an employee working for somebody else. She's not that. She's a people person. She loves being around people. She ain't one of these snooty people that just wants to brick or wall herself off from everybody. Oh, those are the normal folks. She doesn't behave like that. She always out and about in these different things, doing charity work, this type of stuff. But that's her focus. She usually leaves that jobs to them. But when she moves is when she's pissed. She did that before with Anthony Davis with the Pelicans. When Anthony Davis walked out of there with that's all folks shirt. Remember all that? That pissed Gail off. She came down and fired Dale Demps. Fired his ass. She got mad and fired him. Same thing that happened here, and there's supposed to be a breakage in trust. There's a breakage of trust between her and Mickey Loomis, because I'm trusting you to run this team correctly. But not, like I said, when you talk about the Saints and Mickey Loomis, do not forget about Dennis Lauscher, because Dennis Lauscher is supposed to be oversighting or watching what Mickey Loomis is doing, because Dennis Lauscher is Mickey Loomis's boss. Mickey's the VP and general manager. Lauscher is the president of the team. He's the most powerful person in the Saints organization, not named Gail Benson. He's the right hand to the throne, if you want to use that old time verbiage. It's Dennis Lauscher. So every time we talk about Mickey Loomis, don't forget to throw Dennis Lauscher in there, because I asked the same questions. When the team was losing, where was Dennis Lauscher at checking Mickey Loomis? Where was he at? Where was he at? The thing is, there is no oversight. He ain't doing nothing. That's why she had to go past Lauscher to Loomis and tell him fire him. Both of these jerks walking around here letting the team fall apart, and none of them doing nothing about it. They letting the house burn. And she had to go past both these idiots and to fire that guy. Tell him fire that guy. Because what are you doing? People are pissed off. The players don't like him. Fire that guy. Oh, it's the injuries. It's the weather. Now, the weather is why the Saints missed those field goals. Now, hold on now. The weather. I don't know if you know that or not. Hold on. The weather is why they went 0 for 2. The guy said that it was the weather. He said that. The weather. I said, well, hold on here. The Giants didn't have an effing problem. The Giants, when they hit one field goal and then they kicked another one, but penalty took it off. So whenever they did try the field goals, they didn't have no problems. Well, hold on now. That's different. The weather likes them. It's Mother Nature. She's a Giants fan up there. But when, we're a dome team, hold on now. Yeah. This kind of foolish rhetoric and logic, just excuse making. This is just what we like. But anyway, the thing about Gail, let's see what she do this year. If the team falls apart sooner or later, she's getting to the point where she doesn't have any heirs. There are people interested in buying a team. This is probably one of the first vocal articles I've seen when people went out and said, hey, man, I'll buy the Saints, and this guy owns the Rockets. I'll buy the Saints. And then she did stipulate in the agreement that whoever buys the team she sell them to got to keep them in New Orleans. So let's see what she do. But at some point in the near future, that is going to be a reality, because she has no heirs. And that's already written into the agreement that's what's supposed to happen. That's part of the game. So we'll see, man. We'll see what she do this year, and then after that. But I'm pretty sure somewhere down in the near future, she probably gonna try to get from up under them. Why not? This ain't her cup of tea. And then, boy, when she goes, then they gonna all retire. Watch. And Mickey Loomis is gone. All of them, he gonna leave with her. When she sells the team, you don't think that guy ain't gonna stay? The gravy train is over with. All these people are out of here. And it's the same thing. You know, she will buy the Saints, but she gonna keep ownership of the Pelicans. Sooner or later, she gonna sell them too. That's the same thing. Same agreements. Anyway, let's finish this up, and then we'll get a little Coach Rizzi.
Like, man, you have just seen some things physically, spin, block.
He talks to Mike Hoss because Mike Hoss is the ultimate brown noser. That's what it is. He used to talk. Bobby Aberry used to interview him at this time, and then several weeks ago, Bobby Aberry was we played it on the show. Bobby Aberry was asking questions. He wasn't tough questions, by the way. But what he was doing was he was getting asked questions because he got a fantastic restaurant, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people ask him questions. Hey, you know, why this, why that, why that? And he good enough to remember some of these questions. But what he does do, because he knows Mickey Loomis is thin-skinned. You've been knowing Mickey for years. You know he's thin-skinned, can't handle no criticism, batshit crazy. So what he did was he would say to Mickey, well, you know, a lot of the Who Dat Nation wants to know such and such, and he'll go from that to let him know that this is not me asking you these questions. This is what the people want to know. What should be good enough for you not to be mad at me because I'm asking these questions. I'm telling you where I'm getting the questions from. I'm not trying to make you look a certain kind of way. I'm just asking the questions that the people want to know, right? Simple enough. After that, he stopped dealing with Bobby Aper. That was the last interview, and ever since then, he's been with Mike Hoss, doing taped interviews with Mike Hoss, who's a New Orleans Saints reporter. He pay his salary, and they getting the ultimate brown noser. So he doesn't ask him any hard questions. He doesn't really ask most of these. He doesn't ask any questions. He just prattles on, and then Mickey attaches himself to the back of it. Like who cares what you think? You're just there to ask the questions to get it out of Mickey Loomis. He'll say, well, who cares about, like he was like, I don't care about the fourth quarter of the game, but you guys finished the game. Well, how could they finish the game without the fourth quarter, Hoss? Make it make sense. See, but his brown nosing is going ahead of his intellect or his common sense, if he has any. He put the brown nose in the head of the common sense. How you don't care about the fourth quarter, but you guys finished the game. Well, how the hell are they going to finish the game without the fourth quarter, Hoss? Explain that to me. But the brown nosing goes ahead of the brain on this situation because he's thinking about being as soft as he can because he don't want to piss off a thin-skinned guy. You know, this is what it is, man. If Mike Hoss get pissy with him, it probably DeShazer will probably be. Who's next? John DeShazer? And John DeShazer ain't gonna be doing no softball shit. He gonna ask some questions because he a true reporter. That man came from NOLA.com, from Times-Picayune. I remember John DeShazer. I remember John DeShazer when he wasn't a sports reporter. When he was doing something else, he was writing some other cover. He was a reporter for years in Times-Picayune. You know, so he came up and he paid his dues. But this dude, Mike Hoss, was a reporter too. But I guess he forgot his roots. You know, he looking at that check saying, I don't want to piss this son bitch off. He too pale. He too thin-skinned.
Batting down passes, that must be very encouraging.
Well, he's been productive. I think he's been productive all year long, but I think particularly recently we've seen some of these flash plays, and you've seen some of the things that we liked when we drafted him. I would say that he's not a finished product yet. And I think he would say he's not a finished product. There's things that he can do in the run game, in particular, that he needs to do better, and he will do better. But he's been very productive. He's got a lot of sacks for his position, for any position really, and he's made some instinctive plays, batting the balls down, and obviously a tremendously athletic play and blocking the field goal. This last game, but yeah, he's making progress, and we like that. But I don't think that. Again, I think that it's the arrow up. He needs to keep ascending, and I think he will keep ascending.
We are talking with Saints Executive Vice President and General Manager Mickey Stuff. When you start talking Week 15, and you get teams, with some fresh legs.
Yeah.
Who had the bye, like the Giants, who had the mini bye. Washington comes in off of a bye as well. So that's challenging stuff when you start talking Week 15 and you get teams, with some fresh legs.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
not really.
I know it's the schedule. It is. I know.
It's the schedule, and you hope it doesn't occur too many times. It's going to happen during the course of the season. You hope it doesn't happen too many times to you. But that's the case this week, and we'll deal with it.
What did you see in Jaden Daniels? He was going to go so early, probably. But you still, you look at him and kind of what you saw in him as a rookie, maybe at LSU in his final year, and then what you've seen in him as a rookie at Washington, 15 touchdowns, only 6 picks, and he's also run it 108 times for 590 and 6 touchdowns as well.
Yeah, look, I don't think any of it's a surprise to us. They're doing a great job there. He's doing a great job, number one, protecting the football, making plays with his legs, making plays with his arm. I think there's probably a maturity and a calmness there that you don't always see with young and rookie quarterbacks that he's displayed, and it hasn't been too big for him. And I think that's a credit, obviously, to him, but it's also a credit to the coaching staff. They've done a fantastic job.
And it's another one in the NFC, and you just keep the blinders on, and you can't watch what Atlanta's doing, Atlanta and Tampa and all that. All you can do at this point is finish 9-8 and see where the chips fall. Yeah,
look, we're not even thinking about 9-8. We're thinking about 1-0 this week. That's what the goal is, and look, this is one of the better teams that we will have played in this last stretch here. And it'll be a challenge. They've got a lot to play for. They're feeling good about themselves. I'm sure we're going to see Marshawn Lattimore, and he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. And so we're going to have to come with our A game, and it'll be fun.
And finally, that always seems to be the way, isn't it? Why is it that whatever happens, it always just seems that guy comes back. You play him that year, whatever. It's never to the AFC North, and you never see him again. It always feels like it's not even that anybody did. It just feels that way.
What was that? What are you talking about?
We'll have to see.
Yeah, it does. It does sometimes.
Does it? Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just definitely you. You must be. What did he say?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Shit, if you lost, I'm dumbfounded. What the hell was that? I think Mike Hoss on that shit, man. That he totally just went left field. He might want to stop. He need to stop hanging out with Al Gentry. What the hell was that? And then he literally ended right there. It was like, hell, I don't know. And then it went off. The guy went crazy. What the hell?
It's never to the AFC North, and you never see him again. It always feels like it's not even that anybody did. It just feels that way. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, it does. It does sometimes.
Does it? Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Then it goes into. He lost it. That's when brown nosing goes wrong. That's when the brown nosing goes wrong. That's when brown nosing goes wrong for your ass. Yeah, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He just went left field. Mickey Loomis couldn't say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, guy. I was trying to follow you there, First, and these are not questions, by the way. Behind the scenes, as Mickey Loomis talks to Mike Hoss, when he stops, he ends to, Mike, listen, I appreciate you trying to create a soft place for me to land, but keep doing a great job. But that last question, some of these are not really questions, That stuff here, I don't know what you're talking about, guy. I'll just be making half the shit up. I don't know what you're talking about. That last question was, I couldn't put nothing to that. I was completely baffled by that. That just it just flipped everything over. I don't know what the hell happened with that. What are you all right over there? Did you stroke out? How was that? Dude, I don't know what that. See, I told y'all that's when brown nosing goes wrong, man. Brown nosing goes when brown nose. He need to stop that brown nosing, bro. You are grown. I think that dude in his 60s, man. Dude, you don't have to do that for no check. And the crazy part about it, we all see that, man. We all see that, and that's not you don't do that, bro. You don't do that for no check. You're supposed to keep your dignity, man. You don't sell the most vital parts of your being for money. And some of that stuff ain't supposed to be. You can't sell it. I mean, but some of them do. That is not respectable. That is not a respectable way to conduct yourself. And this man has a credentialed past too. He was a reporter. He was here. He was there. And man, you supposed to. Jim Henderson would never behave in that manner. And Jim Henderson used to ask some questions. Jim Henderson used to ask, but we don't have them old good ones like that no more, man. Them guys didn't care. They would ask them questions, man. They would ask those tough questions because they knew that's what you wanted to know. And people respected them for that. Nobody don't get nobody no respect talking like that, fumbling over his questions, not even asking questions, just prattling on and saying stuff, and Mickey attaches himself to the back of it. Well, you mentioned the fact that you finished the game. You finished the game. I don't care about the fourth quarter, but you finished the game. Like, what? Mike, we couldn't finish the game without the fourth quarter. What are you talking about? Well, shit, I don't know. That's what he should have said. The end of shit, I don't know. It goes off right there. Right there, I'd have gave a thumbs up to that. At the end of the praise, like, oh, you know what? Yeah, shit. That oh, what are you talking about? Shit, I don't know. And then it goes right off. I did this. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. What's going on? What's wrong with these people, man? All right, let's hear from old Coach Rizzi for a little bit. Here we go.
Spencer and Jake both took reps today. Obviously with Derek not being out there, both those guys, took reps in the team periods. That'll probably be the same case tomorrow. And we're just going to evaluate that situation. And we're going to name a starter later in the week. We're not going to name a starter right now. We're going to kind of see how that kind of progression plays out. First with Derek, and then obviously with Jake and Spencer. So that's where we're at with the quarterback situation.
Did you not say the other day that you would want to pick one and give them the majority?
Yeah, I said the other day I was going to meet with the offensive staff. At that point, I hadn't done that yet. We all met, obviously, staff-wise. Listen, as I mentioned, both Jake.
Hell no. Yeah, hey, fam, I'm asking these questions. I'm asking him, and listen, this is the realest. I'm gonna be honest. This is the realest question Mike Hoss asked, and y'all probably remember this because I played it on the show. This was early this season. No, it was last year. It was last season. Mike Hoss asked before he started really getting deep into his brown nosing. He asked Mickey Loomis who evaluates him and who checks on him, and Mickey Loomis told him, I don't know. He literally says, I don't know. Mike Hoss asked him who's like basically who are you accountable to? Like who checks for you? Who's your boss? Who holds you accountable? Whatever. And Mickey Loomis told him, I don't know. Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. He said that. That was the realest question Mike Hoss ever asked Mickey Loomis, but he asked him that jokingly. Like, who's your boss? Who are you accountable to? That kind of way. He asked him that. I got to give him credit on that one. That's before he really got into, the force of his brown nosing, but I would definitely ask. I'm not going to play that kind of stuff, man. I want to know. I want to know what's going on here. I would ask him, where's Dennis Lausch at while the team's 7-game losing streak? Is there a real plan to add talent here? Because there's a report saying that assistant general manager Kai Hartlett is going into the NFL executive accelerator program for a third straight year. He's trying to find a job. You've been here for 20 years, you're holding two positions. Why are you still holding a general manager position? Shouldn't Kai Hartlett be the guy that takes the team into the next 20 years of Saints football? You were granted 20 years of Saints football. Can Kai get that general manager job from you so he can do what you do? So he can take the team forward. That kind of stuff, real stuff. You think he's going to ask them that? When are you going to set aside? You've been here for 20 years. Is it possible that your vision is outdated? That your plans are stale? That's why some of these moves are not hitting. Is it quite possible your philosophy is flawed? Are you intaking new information to change your game plan perspective into the future? And the question is no, he's a dinosaur. His behaviors is wrong for a general manager. You would want the qualities of, he can keep the VP because we don't care about that. But the general manager, his vision guides the team into the future. And if you're going to have a guy that do that, that guy has to make the team his business, not sharing opportunities, sharing duties. Well, he got to do VP duties. And he don't do it in season. He admitted to that. He said he doesn't do in-season evaluations because he's too emotional when they win and he's too emotional when they lose. So that's why your team he doesn't talk to the players. We already know that. The reporters, I told you that before the reporters told you. Then Cat Terrell was the first one to say that, asked him in a question, Mickey, you don't often have a lot of interaction with the players. What made you at the end of last year go and talk to the players? Well, I'm just going to keep that, what I said to myself, between me and the players, and then he proceeded to later on say that he was letting everybody know that they're not going to be comfortable. When it was him, that's the one that's dealing with comfortability issues. It was him. It was him stalling out and choking out the success of the team because he's a dinosaur. He don't want to take anything. Everything he knows, his plan can't fail, even though it is full of holes. But you can't get him to see it. That's why he has to go. You can't have that rock-headed mentality when you're in the league and you have all this change going on here. You can't have that blind, stupid, unbendable, unadjustable philosophy. And he's a dinosaur, man. He's not even, like I say, he's not even a real general manager. What guy who's a general manager don't evaluate his team on a daily to weekly basis who's serious about winning? Seriously, I'm asking the question. How a general manager let his team go through a 7-game losing streak without going and talk to any of the players and only listens to the coach? He goes and talks to the coach. Well, Dennis said, we're going to be fine. What general manager don't put stipulations on his head coach and limitations, meaning that if you don't do this by a certain period of time, we're going to have to cut you loose. That way it puts pressure on him to adapt and change and not provide an environment where he's comfortable, so comfortable that he feels like he can do anything he wants to do and be fully protected by the general manager who believes he has ultimate say in the organization, even flexing his power irresponsibly. He's stealing money from the Saints. He's taking 2 positions and he don't even do half the job for the general manager position, but he got a bunch of them other guys as former general managers subbing out the work. He got a bunch of former GMs, Rick Mueller and everybody up in the Saints organization. He's subbing out the work. What general manager don't do evaluations on his team, and his team got all kind of shit going on? How doesn't he stay on these guys? And then you go higher than him and say, what kind of president do you have, which would allow the team to have a 7-game losing streak? A general manager that is so blind that he would refuse to fire the coach that was responsible for the 7-game losing streak. A guy that's using excuses like injuries and weather is the reason why you succeed or not succeed, as opposed to smart effort and working hard and being just a smart team. That we as a team decide our success and not outside forces. I thought that's how a successful person thrives. Most business owners don't believe in that kind of garbage that he's talking about. They believe that they make their fortune. They believe that they're going to adjust to everything and be proactive. The Saints are not a proactive organization. They're reactive, just like the Pelicans are, because you got the same mentality running. That's why the Pelicans are impacted by injuries more than anybody else over the last 10 years, is because they are a reactive team, which means soon as they finally find out what they need to do to get ahead of the injuries, the next trend starts, and then they flip all the way to the back end again, as opposed to jumping ahead to understand we need to get more people on this soft tissue thing. We need to focus on doing this, doing that. You look at the organization from top to down, you got one person in the top 5 or 6 or 7 people that's actually somebody that knows something about football, and that's Mickey Loomis. The rest of them guys are business people. They don't know nothing about no football. I doubt they can throw one. Same shit with the Pelicans. But at the end of the day, man, I digress. The reality is it's winning. It's winning and not excuse making. And we could tell the difference. That's what kind of questions I would ask, man. I'll be real about it. I want to know. But like I said, it's a control dynamic, because you won't piss them off, then they won't let you go over that no more. And see that guy over there? Oh man, that big Q guy, don't let his fucking ass in here no more. Let me tell you something. Oh, Mickey, Mickey, calm down. Oh, well, I know. That guy asked me a question that was too hard. How dare he do that? They don't let him in here no more. Yeah, you got that? Yes, sir, Mr. Mickey. Oh, that's King Mickey. Oh, yeah. Don't let that guy up in here. Yeah, that's how I go. But anyway, let's hear Rick
and Spencer bring certain attributes to the table. They're very similar in a lot of ways. So game plan wise, it doesn't change a whole bunch. And so in fairness to the process, like I said, we'll get another work day in tomorrow. Maybe make this decision by Friday. We'll see where Derek's at, like I said. But right now, all options are still on the table.
Those were first team reps that they took.
They both took reps and all the way through. The way we do it, we just kind of roll through our team, our team periods. So
would you describe it as a competition at this point in terms of?
I think that's fair. I think that's what they've been doing since the day that Spencer got here. I think him and Jake have been in a competition, and for the 2 and 3 spots. And every week we spend a little bit different in terms of the rep counts and all that. As I mentioned the other day, we have gone into every game with Jake being the backup. And
have they really been in competition, fam? What's this narrative about them being in competition? I'm going to ask you a question. Who won the starting job? I mean, not the starting job, obviously it's DC, but who won the backup job according to the competition, which is preseason decides the order of the team, like who's here 1, 2, 3, and then down through the year, depending on what's going on with the roster. The depth charts change, they fluctuate. But this narrative here about competition between Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, Rattler won that job. The only reason why he's an emergency quarterback is because Dennis Allen didn't want the pressure of the faithful. They love Spencer Rattler, and he knew. And I told y'all this before this even happened, because I know how petty the guy and off code the guy was, that he would violate that competition. And they create a narrative where Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener are still in competition for the second string job, when that's not the case. There's no competition. Spencer beat Rattler. I mean, Spencer is Rattler, but Spencer beat Haener, rather. Yeah. He beat him for the job, and it wasn't even close in preseason. He won the backup job, beat him clearly. The only reason why there's an issue there's some corruption there, is because Dennis Allen understood the popularity of Spencer Rattler and did not want that to be an issue for Derek Carr, because if Carr struggled and threw interceptions or had funky games, people would be yelling from the stands to put Spencer Rattler in the game if he was the backup. And Dennis Allen seen that and said, we're going to make him the third quarterback, but he didn't do it right away. He played games with the naming of the quarterbacks when the regular season started. He started having QB 2 and 3 put at the same thing. Names were listed at the same way. But some kind of weird and miraculous way, every time Derek Carr would get hurt, they would call Spencer Rattler from the emergency quarterback role to be the starter. So what's up with this narrative about you don't know who it is? Now, I've already made reference to the point that we know who it's going to be. It's going to be Spencer Rattler. It's going to be him. It's going to be him over Haener because he actually won the job. But what I don't like is the fact that they actually carry this on and Dennis Allen's not here anymore. And I'm going to pose this to you guys. Every time he's asked about the offense, he starts blabbing, and not blabbing, but he starts kind of babbling, and he starts being real nervous looking, or, and it's different. It's a different energy when he's talking about special teams and the defense, obviously. But I'm questioning how involved this guy is in the offense, because he changed everything and left the offense alone like we were all good. The offense is not good. They need help. So he said, I got to talk to the offensive staff to learn it. What do you mean? So I'm thinking that he's handling the offense the same way Dennis Allen's handling the offense, which means he's letting them run it. But that wasn't good enough for the defense or the special teams. Of course, he came out of there. He made the changes. But I'm saying everybody needed changes. At that point, you was on your 7-game. You picked up on the 7-game losing streak. The team's still not all out of the water. You still have to adjust and make adjustments. You see how funky the offense looked against the Giants. Even Mickey Loomis and all his blabbing and backpedaling and excuse letting, he still admitted how bad the offense looked, especially the offensive line. They look like trash. But in the end, they need help just like everybody else does. They're not exclusive from that. They're not excluded from that. But notice the look on his face and the energy when people press him about the offense, man. Very, very interesting.
Spencer being the emergency third. And so, obviously we signed Ben DiNucci to the practice squad. Just again, take some of those practice squad reps, those scout team reps, have another body, because obviously Derek's not practicing here for a few days, and so just to take some load off those guys, and so they're not taking everything. So that's where we're at. I know you guys want me to give you more, but that's really where we're at. So,
would you say they're similar in a lot of ways, Jake and Spencer?
Yeah.
Just not wanting to put words in your mouth. Could you delineate some of those ways?
Yeah, I think they're both guys that throw the ball well. They're both similar size guys. They're both athletic abilities very similar. So in terms of there's not going to be this there'll be some nuances in the game plan depending on which guy starts. Naturally, there's going to be things that some guys do better than others. That's always going to be the case, no matter who the player is. But there's not going to be these wholesale deal. And so when I say they're similar, I think they're similar style quarterbacks. We're not dealing with Michael Vick and Jim Everett, if you will. Horrible example.
Yeah, well, very bad.
But those are the slowest guy I thought of and the most athletic guy I thought of. We're not dealing with opposite ends of the spectrum. So anyhow, you could tell I was a Rams fan when I was really little before I became a Giants fan.
Hopefully they want to fight you for saying that.
Riz, when you said Derek could go the week without working and still play, is there going to be a line where you'll draw it at some point during the week and say, okay, we got to go with this guy?
Yeah, they'll be at that point. He's going to have to, obviously, if Derek were to even have a chance, he'd obviously have to get into some walkthroughs and things like that. I think, I don't know if he'd take there's going to be a situation where he would take a whole lot of full speed reps. I don't see that the way that the concussion protocol works out and the way we practice. That wouldn't happen. So he'd have to get in there and get some walkthrough stuff. He wouldn't just show up on Sunday, cold, and he would have to go through some stuff. So again,
okay, so he walked it back because this was something that he got challenged on yesterday, the day before yesterday, Monday, or the day, I think it was, he talked about, where a reporter asked him the question about Derek Carr playing without practice, and he said just his words were, that's a very real possibility. And I questioned it. I was like, man, that's not how you do this. We're not going to put an injured player who hadn't practiced directly into an NFL game, and he's a quarterback. You're going to get him hurt. He's going to throw 2 or 3 interceptions in the game because you don't put a guy in there. So you see, you walk that back. Just pinpointing that he had to walk that shit back.
We'll see where he's at tomorrow, and then Friday and Saturday, and by the end of the week, if he's not able to get any reps in any form or fashion, then obviously we'll go with one of the other guys.
How does he progress?
Totally walked it back. He did. That's the right thing because he misspoke on that. People's like, man, you better not do that. So he walked it back. Okay.
Concussion protocol, Derek.
He's so far no setbacks, so that part's been a positive. He's obviously had to complete the first step Tuesday, second step today, and so hopefully there's a whole progression there. But so far so good. He hasn't had any setbacks or hasn't leveled off at all.
And it's been definitely decided he won't have surgery. You said he was maybe going to get a second opinion the other day.
Yeah, as of the moment, it's going to be non-surgical situation. That doesn't require injured reserve. So
Okay, so that's the idea. He's going to play with the injury, so they're giving you enough right there. Number one, the idea on Derek Carr, and y'all know this, I'm just saying it for the record, is the fact that Carr is not going to be put on IR because that would end this season, right? They don't want to do that. They want to not have surgery because that would also end with a time frame where he would have to end up being missed out on the season, because if you have a fractured wrist, as the reports are indicating, because that's the bigger injury, not the concussion, he'll clear concussion protocol probably next week. So we'll see how that goes. But the bigger issue is the fractured wrist. If they're thinking about putting a cast on the wrist and then fortifying the cast and then shooting him up with dope just to make sure he sees the field, because this is what they're looking at doing, because they're constantly pumping the rhetoric that, hey, man, Carr's all right. We're just going to keep on looking. Because at this point, if you do anything with IR, he's done for the year. So they want to try to keep him available. So they're going to move surgery out the way. So it's weird, man. If you got a fractured wrist and it's that bad, like with a lot of the doctors and the stuff that I look at, it definitely requires surgery. But for you to be considering that for Derek Carr, and he got a fractured wrist, that more than likely I promise y'all, when the season's over with, that guy's going to have surgery on that wrist. And for them to not try to put that guy in there and he got a fractured wrist on his 9 throwing arm, and then he going to take hits on that wrist and they're going to dope shoot it up. They're going to put a cast on and shoot it up with dope. It's just unbelievable the type of bullshit these people do, but all in the name. But forget the safety. The guy has a fractured wrist, man. And we talk about concussion. That's not the bigger issue. It's a fractured wrist. Well, it's on his own 9 throwing arm. You have a fractured wrist and try to go to work. You ain't doing nothing with no fractured wrist, and you know that. But at the end of the day, man, this is safety. Is
there any potential plans to open up Chris Olave's practice window? Like, is that even a possibility in the next few weeks, or y'all still going?
That all options are on the table there as well. I wouldn't close the door on that. I think Chris is in a much better place than he's been. As I mentioned, he's having some further meetings, but I don't want to close the door on that either. I wouldn't say that his season is completely done. I would say that let's see what the specialists and the doctors say, and let's make sure that all is good there, and then we'll discuss that. But he's starting to get some rehab stuff and things like that. He's starting to move around, so we'll see.
So we covered this earlier in the broadcast about this is a Chris Olave update. The article was based on the report here, or the video rather, of him giving it, because this is right around the time where the Saints usually will open up the window for him to make a return, similar to what they do with most players. Like the recent player was Tanu Passanio. Although, they opened up the window, but they've been kind of stopping Tanu for the last 2 weeks. This is the third week. A lot of people anticipating him making this appearance against the Commanders. Chris Olave is ramping up. That's what they call it in NBA. It's a ramp up period where he goes back to working out, getting involved. So obviously he is going to play, because the question was whether or not they would shut him down based on what's happening. Now he's still saying he's supposed to be specialist. He's supposed to be. But if you're working out with the team, you're in the meeting rooms with he admitted all of this, then it's a ramp up period. And perhaps the window opens next week against Green Bay. And we would definitely need Chris Olave to have that, to be available for that matchup if he's good to go. So
This week that he could return? Like, would you guys?
No, I don't think we'll see him this week.
He traveled with the team to New York.
He did. He was on the trip. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. He was on the trip with us this past week.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, was that something he wanted to do? Like, what kind of prompted that?
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to get back in the swing of things. So he's in meetings now. He's back. He's able to sit back in the meetings, and he's able to do some of those things that the IR guys are allowed to do. So, in whatever meetings he's allowed to go to, with all the weight room stuff that he's allowed to do, the rehab stuff.
Yeah, he stutters on offense. I'm glad y'all recognize that, Big Valley, because I was seeing that. Because if you watch him talk about defense and offense, he's confident. But when you go offense, he is less confident. He rambles. He kind of, it's a different energy. He's like nervous when he talks about the offense because he didn't have a hand. He's not hand on with the offense. They're still operating with a sense of autonomy. That's what I get. So, I'm just saying that it's this, whatever his style or what he's doing in terms of the offense is the same thing Dennis Allen did, which is letting them decide on everything like that there. And every now and again, if they won't go for a third or fourth down play, he'll shake his head yes or no. But that's pretty much all the power because he didn't change anything there. He didn't command any play callers to be changed. He hadn't done anything. Nothing to the offense. This is the same offense we had under Dennis Allen. He didn't change anything. And that's a major mistake because the offense is a problem. We need some change right there. We need to switch around these plays. We need some change here. So yeah, I'm glad y'all noticed that, man. I've seen that too.
Kind of following that protocol, the reserve injured protocol, and he did go on the trip with us to New York.
How challenging is this process of having three quarterbacks and not knowing kind of who's going to be able to be available on Sunday and who and from a health perspective, from a competition perspective and all of that, when you combine it all, how frustrating has that been?
I don't think it's frustrating because I think Jake and Spencer in their own right have prepared for this moment, and no different than the last go around when Derek missed some time with an injury. Those guys stay ultimately prepared. I don't know if there's two guys, I know I joked around a couple of weeks ago about Tano always being around during his rehab process. During the game weeks, every day, Spencer, Jake, those guys are here preparing all the time. They do everything. They go out and do the virtual stuff. They're always watching film. They're locked into their playbooks. And so, they're really the ultimate professionals. And so because of their preparation, I'm very confident that, whoever ends up being under center on Sunday will be prepared and ready to go. Both those guys have been great. So I wouldn't say it's frustrating. I'm frustrated for Derek that he's got to deal with these injuries. That's the frustrating part. But as far as the other two guys, I know that they're professionals and they're well prepared.
Is Chris still in concussion protocol? Is he technically in the steps?
The steps of the protocol, yeah, I really don't. Like I said, he's really got some meetings lined up. That as far as the exact protocol, I think he's past that part. But I don't put words in my mouth.
When you said, I think last week that he had rescheduled something this week.
Yeah, he's got a meeting coming up. I don't know the exact day. I don't know the exact day of the week it's coming up, but he's got a deal. But
and to rephrase or clarify on the quarterback, is part of it you're not wanting to tell us or the Commanders yet who's starting quarterback, or the team has genuinely not decided yet who would start at quarterback?
Yes.
The first time?
Yes, and yes.
With Chris,
That was the shortest answer I ever gave.
in general terms, not to delve into, what's going on with him, but what are they looking for when meeting with concussion specialists? Is there a way to maybe see if a reoccurrence will happen? Is that what they're trying to
Great question.
figure
Yeah,
out?
I'd love to sit here and tell you that. I'd love to sit here and tell you all the answers. I'm not backing out of the question. I really
I
not.
realized I didn't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the best example I can give you is probably what Tua went through with the Dolphins. I think he's following a similar path to make sure, as I mentioned, I think way back in the beginning that, when he does come back, there aren't going to be any potential setbacks. And so I think that's the same, kind of following that guideline. I think our medical people have also communicated with those same people. Just so I'd love to tell you all the details about that. That's kind of out of my league, over my head. I'm not that medical person.
I don't, and me on the Tua thing, I thought they should have shut Tua down for his career. I mean, he had some of the worst concussions you've seen in a while, but some kind of way the guy's still playing football. I think he still is. Isn't Tua still healthy? I mean, all those concussion and head injuries that guy has taken, and they still let him play football. I thought that was incredibly insane. That is incredibly dangerous. All the head issues that guy's had since he's been in the league, and he's still playing football. That is insane. And I don't know if I want any advice from the Miami Dolphins on that shit. Because to be honest with you, that is incredibly horrible. And this was some of the worst head injuries you've seen Tua take since he's been in the league. And it didn't got so consistent. It's like, damn, another head injury from this guy. I mean, why didn't they shut this guy? I thought they believe in health. How is he still playing football with all of that? How? You know, I don't get that part of the game. I don't understand. I mean, this guy is a lot of concussions, but he's still playing. He's still allowed to be. I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's listen a little bit more and we'll cut out.
Staying on the quarterback theme, what have you seen from Jaden Daniels and just his rookie season of how he's been able to handle everything running that offense for the Commanders?
Extremely impressive. I mean, the most impressive thing about Jaden Daniels right now is the fact that for a rookie, he's got a 70% completion percentage, and a guy that's I think he's the third in the league in least amount of turnovers for a quarterback. And those are usually the things that when you're dealing with a rookie quarterback that you don't see. You don't see the high completion percentage. You see a lot of turnovers. Guy doesn't take care of the ball. So I think that's a credit to his college training. I think it's a credit to his pro training. I think it's a credit to what they're doing offensively. They've really done a nice job. Cliff has done a phenomenal job with him, putting him in good situations. But with all that being said, he's still a playmaker. So it's not like, they got him out there just managing the game. Mm-hmm. They got him out there and with quarterback runs, the scrambles, the big plays, the Hail Marys. I mean, all the plays he's made this year, mm-hmm. He's got some highlight film plays too. So, but to sit here and say that he's only whatever it is, 13 games into his professional career, his body of work's been really impressive.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is ahead of his game, man. And a lot of people felt it would be that case. But if you look at the film, and a lot of it is similar to not so much in scheme, although certain things do actually look the same because they'll have an idea of plays that he used when he was in college and see if they can have a similar play or an NFL equivalent, right? But Jaden Daniels, the thing about Jaden Daniels that'll be on the scouting report when we talk about Jaden Daniels is that the fact that he's incredibly decisive. He's not if he sees something he's a tall quarterback. He's 6'3", 6'4". He's kind of slender, but he moves well in the pocket. He has an incredible sense of the pocket as well. He can throw on the run as well. Like he has accuracy as he throws and runs. So it's a very unique dynamic because he's a tall guy with good accuracy that can throw the deep ball, and he can throw any pass. And he really, and a lot of people don't like Brian Kelly, but you got to give a shout out to Brian Kelly because Brian Kelly got him in the transfer portal from Arizona State and took Jaden Daniels, who had the scrambling component. He had certain passing attributes, and he turned him into an NFL quarterback. He gave him the confidence, and a lot of the games that LSU had when he was there, they would have won a national championship if they had a defense. Like they would have won a national championship if they had a defense. Or half of, even a top 50 defense in the country, they would have won a championship with him. But the crazy thing about him, like I said, is not just the accuracy. He's incredibly intelligent. He has a high IQ. He processes stuff very fast, and he has the ability to get out of harm's way quick. Which means if he sees a glimmer of a line, and he'll be processing, looking around, he goes through the progression plate like he's supposed to. And if he don't see something he taking off, and he gonna slide, and that is the demoralizing effect, because within lies the problem for the Saints defense, and we'll talk about on the Saints and Commanders preview. But that where the problem lies, because the Saints have been terribly undisciplined in stopping the scrambling quarterback, and he's the most ultimate version of that dilemma the Saints are going to face. And they'll see Jordan Love the next week after that, because he'll take off on you. But Jaden Daniels he only needs a little glimmer of light, and he taking the hell off. And he's at times the fastest guy on the field. So it's not like he's just some dude running. He has really good speed too. So it's going to be a problem for the Saints defense. Now, they've been playing well as of late, but like I said, it might require the defense step up, and that's a tall order for the Saints to say, just stop Jaden Daniels when that's what you would need to do to beat the Redskins, because he is a part of not only the passing attack. This dude could throw for 300 and run for 150 on you, just like that. Break the defense down. You think you got him, and then he'll take off, get the first down, demoralize you. So, I mean, this is a part of the game where the Saints are going to have to, over the next 2 weeks, that's going to be a big part of the game, is slowing these guys like Jordan Love and especially Jaden Daniels down. So, yeah, the dude is Jaden Daniels, man. We know all about him because, like I said, he's an LSU guy. Jaden Daniels was doing that shit to them people when he was down here in Baton Rouge running around on them. All right, let me get a few questions, man. That's going to be the end of that as well. Let me get a few comments and questions from the family members. Throw that in there, family. About to get on out of here, about 10 minutes. All right, can you too? You shout out to your fam. Says Olave needs to eat a steak and hit the weight room. Sean Payton would call him a China doll. Say he's kind of delicate, huh? Arvin says, I do think that the last pass by Carr to Olave was a hospital ball, but the Panthers defender also targeted Olave. That was both a hospital ball and a dirty hit. Indeed. And a lot of times in RG3 said it was a hospital ball. Steve Smith, the all-time great Carolina Panther wide receiver, said it was a hospital ball and that the ball shouldn't have been thrown. They had other people that said the same thing. Cam Newton also spoke about it and said that's not what you do as a quarterback. You don't put that ball there, So that's we've covered that ad nauseum about that, and it's behind us right at this point. All right, Jack says, Q, I don't remember seeing this many head injuries looking back 20 years ago. I mean, dudes knocked out on the field. I thought the helmet tech and rules was supposed to help, but no, yeah, it was something we talked about, like with the new technology and how fast the players are a lot faster and colliding into each other at a faster rate. So you see a lot of this going on. So, but they had the concussion-proof helmets and all this kind of stuff going on. Well, they say they're concussion-proof, but they have the extra padding that you have on inside of the helmet and then on the outside of the helmet itself. And you see some players in the NFL are wearing the extra padding on the exterior of the helmet, which is what he would have to do. And if you're a player, not just any player, but, if I was a player, I would wear that too. You would have the padding inside on outside of the helmet. It helps during practices where you're running in helmet, you're bumping helmets with people inadvertently. It happens. So you want to have that extra padding there to kind of give you that extra protection. That's just for your head area, but there are other devices and technology that they're working on for problems with your knees and extra protection for your ankle areas and the bendy areas. They got technology that they're working on for the sports athlete. Now, a lot of this stuff is experimental. A lot of this stuff is kind of pricey, but at the end of the day, man, I wouldn't think it would be such a bad thing for them to participate in, especially like back in the day. They used to have bigger shoulder pads, and we didn't have all these shoulder issues and injuries. Now it seems like everybody's wearing quarterback shoulder pads. Linebackers used to have big ass shoulder pads because they used to use these shoulders all the time. So they had the bigger shoulder pads. Like we see guys like Sam Mills and Vaughn Johnson and old school guys like the great Lawrence Taylor, the best linebacker that ever existed in history of professional football. Lawrence Taylor, he had them. Mike Singletary had them. All of them had them. All these guys had these massive shoulder pads. Nowadays, all these shoulder pads resemble the ones that's being, used by a quarterback. So you see not a lot of the game is not so much big and clunky as the old images look, but it's more streamlined. Like these guys are kind of looking at them being faster, and it's hurting them to a degree. But yeah, it's a lot of head injuries, and the technology hasn't quite sped up to a point where it's putting a dent in those issues. Like we see a lot of soft tissue issues, stuff like this. So it should be an emphasis for the Saints organization, the medical staffs, to start pinpointing that, because that's obviously the next trend, right? And we had soft tissue issues before, but let's see what's going on in the NBA, where a lot of players are getting hurt, and it's hitting the Pelicans 3 times harder than any other team because they're a team that just finally got something straight after years of suffering. And now that it went up again, now they find themselves on the tail end of it again because they are a reactive as opposed to a proactive team. So you would have kind of focus on finding people that deal with those type of issues and bringing them onto your staff so they can come up with ways to kind of get this under control. That's how you would do it, right? But it's all about how much is that going to cost? How much is it, and then they get into all that bullshit because it's cutting the profit down. So anyway, you're right on that. Arvis says the NFL needs to get rid of roughing the kicker rules on special teams. When the player goes for a block, they will more than likely hit the punter or the kicker. Another useless flag. I don't know if I would agree with you on that, bro, because if they run into our kicker and punter, I probably would get upset. I would say, you know what, that's good for, that sounds good, when it's applied to the Falcons, but, when it's applied to me, nah, I don't like that. I don't like, that's not it. All right, Damon says, hey, Q, we all know the reason there's not putting Derek Carr on our, he says, and we all know he want to play the Raiders. There you go. And at some point in the next, not this week, but the next 3 games after the fact, you probably definitely going to see Derek Carr out there with a cast on his arm and the Saints shooting him up with dope, the painkiller for him. And then when the season over with, you're going to hear a report him having surgery on that fractured wrist. And that's just, it is what it is, man. We've seen them do that to that guy. He played with all these with broken ribs. He said he couldn't even move and all this kind of stuff. So, it's just, that's not smart to do, man. It's supposed to be about protecting the player, man. All right, M. says, I want Carr to play against the Raiders so he can officially have lost to all 30. I think he'll beat the Raiders, man. The Raiders aren't that very good, man. They're not good at all. I think he beats them. All right, Stu says, bless your podcast, Q. Give him great. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, student. Much love, man. Thank you for that comment. All right, Arvin says, not sure if we lose to the Raiders, but I would be surprised if we'd be interested in hearing what excuses the Carr cult uses to defend Carr. I think Arvin and somebody else was using, they said they called Carr's supporters the Kardashians. All right, I see what you did there. But, man, it is what it is. People got their picks and chooses of who they like, and some people like Derek Carr. They like him as as a football player. Me personally, I think he is not. He's, and I've said this before, I think he is undisciplined. I think he stares down the field too much. This, like I said, the last tape, 70% of his passes that wasn't check downs or designed throw plays when he had to actually process the field. He was involved in staring guys down, and you could look and see on the opposite side of where he was staring, you could see frustration from wide receivers because they're running routes and for no reason at all. For no good reason, because he's not even looking in that direction. You can't get away from the film. And if they don't want to see the film, then that's on them. I wouldn't even argue with them about that. You can't argue with the tape. You're not supposed to do that. And he did it like at least, and I'm being generous with it, at least 70% of the time when he processed the field, he's staring it down. That's a terrible flaw for a veteran quarterback that's making $150 million. You're not supposed to be staring. Every now and again, I'll see if you see something you like, but not in that rate, that high rate that you was doing it. And that would explain to you why a lot of the plays, a lot of the offensive plays we were seeing were dying, because this was a part of the offense. Like, you'll have an opportunity if you process and go through your progressions. There's a player on the opposite side. Instead of allowing the play to develop for whatever reason, he wasn't even getting pressured. The Saints did a pretty decent job of keeping him upright, right? And keeping them guys off of him. But he wouldn't allow the play to develop. The defense would back off in zone, allow him to throw underneath, then they'll rush up and get him. But they had guys that were there. The tape shows there were guys in one-on-one matchups where he can have with a gun approach, he can reach that guy. But he would just hit the check down, because it looks better, to be honest with you. Statistically, if I throw 8 or 9 or 10 different check down throws, that spikes my accuracy rate. That makes me look more accurate than when I am if I'm checking the ball down to Elvin Kamara or Juwan Johnson, a check down throw or a design throw to here or there. These pad my stats. But when I take a shot downfield and I throw behind a wide receiver, I get an interception. Or if I throw to a wide receiver on the left side of the field, but I don't throw it outside his left shoulder, I throw it inside when he's going outside, we got issues. So it's communication issues and stuff like that. So you can see that on the tape. Now, as when that shows up on the tape, the next thing as a quarterback, because they're studying the same tape, it's not a different tape. It's the same stuff. The all 22 is what they look at. That's what when they put that shit up on the projector screen in the training room, that's the same film that they study. And the man got a pointer. You turn the lights off, and he got a pointer, and he pointing at everything that they're doing wrong in there. Everything they're doing wrong. And the defensive guys in their room looking at the tape, the special teams guy in their room look at the tape, and the offensive guys in that room looking at that tape. And that coach got this here. See, this is the problem. This is this, that, and the third, showing the print, all that shit. I just wonder if the offensive guy is showing, hey, man, the reason why we're not getting what we need to get out of this offense is because we need to do better, but you need to progress better than this. You need to look at everybody, and you're getting time. Now, I understand if you ain't got something, take the hell off or whatever. But at the same time, you got to go through your progressions. If you're reading defense, you got to read that defense. You got to look at and see if somebody about to blitz at you. So you might have to audible out of something, and then that's pre-snap stuff. Then when the ball is snapped, then you look and see what you got going on. And if you got a good pocket, or you even be paying attention to that, because you're supposed to have a clock in your head that's supposed to be going 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then get rid of that goddamn ball. See, if you're looking at MBS, and MBS is here, kind of span the field, see what you got, and get rid of it. And if you don't like what you got, check it down. The problem is, there's no spanning of the field going on. There's strictly either I'm looking here or I'm looking there, and that's not going to cut it. That's why your offense look as still and as dead what it is, because when you do that, when I'm focused over here or there and I'm not cycling through, I cut off half my effing options, man. Half of my options I'm cutting off because I'm not looking at the opposite side of the field. I'm cutting my options in half, which is then causing your offense to stammer and stumble out, because I'm not looking everywhere I'm supposed to be looking. How can I throw to a guy and I don't even look at him? And it got to be frustrating. If I was playing wide receiver or tight end and I'm running my route full speed, looking around, I come back, this dude looking over here. I'm like, man, I was wide open over here. And I go tell him, yeah, I'm gonna look for you. I'm gonna look over there. Nah, bro, you not supposed to do that. You supposed to go through progressions. That's what quarterbacks are supposed to do. And progressions are you looking at all of your damn options. So that's the tape. The tape is so frustrating. I just wonder if that goddamn offensive coordinator is pinpointing, you know what, Carr, you got to go through these progressions, because you missed Juwan Johnson here. You had Austin Jr. over here. You had this other guy over here, and it's on tape. So if they don't see that, and that's not a knock, because none of these guys are perfect. But at the end of the day, as a quarterback, you got to look at everything. You can't be sitting up. And the Saints were actually giving them time. You got to let the play develop and then see what you got. And move around, why don't you, a little bit? Kind of move around, slide in the pocket. Like some of these throws here, kind of slide in the pocket. Move to where you need to be. You don't have to stand fixated in the pocket to get a throw. You can kind of slide or glide either to the left or the right, so you can change the trajectory of the throw that you're going to have, so you don't have to stand exclusively from that pocket. You can ad-lib. When you start moving out, sliding out, the receivers kind of move too. You kind of adjust to what the defense is doing. You could be able to find somebody moving around. It happened all the time. That could have helped us in the Ram game too. If you slide and moving around, not just standing fixated like somebody nailed your goddamn feet to the ground. I mean, it's just the feel, man. So we got to be able to, it's just a lot has to change, man. And the man ain't going to be in there anyway. So we'll see if the next guy, whoever it is, it's probably be Spencer Rattler. He will look through his goddamn progressions. He will go through that. I promise you that. He going to look at them progressions. M. Dot said that Kardashians and the car sexuals. Good Lord, man. I never come up with all kinds of stuff. The car sexuals. I think the Kardashians is the better one. I like that. That was actually a swift one right there. The car sexuals, I don't understand what that is. I don't know what the hell that is. Damon says, I know it's too dark out, but who would you like to see our new coach? Man, I don't know, bro. I would prefer to have an offensive minded coach, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'll have to look over, but I really would prefer an offensive minded coach, a guy that knows offense really good, that has a good resume there, that can do something with what we got here. I think defensively we built correctly. I wouldn't be surprised if a guy come here and say, I like Joe Woods and keep him. You know what I'm saying? Joe Woods is just, a respected coach like that. He could be kept. But I really would prefer, if I had my picks and choose, I would prefer more of an offensive-minded coach with a good repartee, a good mindset and offense to come here and kind of take what we got and kind of, do what we need to do, build on that moving forward. But really, that's what I look like. But outside of looking for that, I probably like a guy like Brian Flores. I like Flores, man, a lot. I like him a lot because he's accountable. He's really intelligent. And you can imagine like a move like they make Kai Hartley the general manager, and then he picks Brian Flores as his coach. That'll be almost similar to a degree to what Houston did. Like when they brought in, what's the brother from Houston? Man, I'm drawing blanks right now. He's the head coach when they brought him in over there. And that guy used to play for Houston. He was a solid, like D'Amico Ryans. It would be like, even though Brian Flores didn't play for him, I'm not talking about that because they had the familiarity of him being a really good linebacker for them for many years, but it's just the energy, the youthful energy that he'll bring. And he's a serious coach. He's very accountable, and he's really intelligent on that defense. So I wouldn't mind that. But if I had to make my picks and choose, I would want more of an offensive-minded coach, or a guy that a smart coach that knows what kind of offense he wants to run and gets the right guy to run it for him. You see what I'm saying? But don't give them the autonomy. Like, okay, he's involved. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get away from the thing where you got a guy there and he wants to, you see what I'm saying? I want to get away from that. I don't want to emulate any of this stuff we've been doing the last couple of years because it hadn't been working. I don't want to have all these retreads. Can we just get somebody that's a youthful? I ain't gonna say too young, but Flores does have experience as a head coach. He had a sucker job in Miami where the guy was trying to pay him to tank the team because he was trying to violate the rules to bring Tom Brady on board. He got caught up in all that, and then the guy fires him and he sued him because he was trying to say that he tanked. And the guy lied and said that he didn't say that, and then it comes out that the guy did say it, meaning the head coach. I mean, not the head coach, the owner of the team. Lied and said, yeah, he didn't say that, and then it comes out that he did. And I think they only took a first-round draft pick from him and charged him like some money. Like, that's real scummy. Jermaine Secure, I saw Carr close up when I went to the Rams game. That guy, horrible footwork. Now I see why he's not a good QB. I've seen it up in person for myself. Yeah, a lot of people talk about Carr's footwork. And you're not too far off the truth, and you're not slamming them because Clint Kubiak and Andrew Janoko talked about his footwork. That was the first thing they mentioned, the footwork and speeding him up more than they talked about his progression thing. I was on the progression thing. I thought that, he needs to do a better job of going through his progression so he can see his options. He locks in on the field too much. And I was like, at one point during it, felt like how, you do get glimpses of really good throws. Like he'll rip a throw. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. He'll read and do this, that, and third. And then half the game is the opposite. It is very maddening to watch it because it was like one play, he put one on the rope to Jawan Johnson to get downfield to set up the first touchdown. And then during the next drive, he had a throw where all he had to do was throw that ball to Kendre Miller. It was a straight line throw. For whatever reason, he put a rainbow up there that allowed the defenses to get to Kendre Miller before he can even turn to get north or south. Like, why would you throw that ball? One time he got flushed out of the pocket to the right, and he was running to the right. All he had to do was throw on the run to Kevin Austin Jr., who was upfield, about 10 yards? He was on the run, and the guy wasn't even close. The defender wasn't close, but he did this and tried to throw it and threw it at his feet. I'm like, what? It's the weirdest stuff ever. So it fluctuates like this, and it's so maddening. It's so like watching is like, yes, that's what we're talking about, but it's not enough. It's like it's not enough. It's not enough because you'll see it and you'll be like, yes. And then the next throw is like, why he did that? What was he throwing at? Yeah, the pass that he threw into triple coverage. I was like, why are you throwing that? And you looked at the tape, he had a better option on the left side that he never looked at because he was staring out on the right side in triple coverage. You know, the Jawan Johnson throw, which was Jawan was blocking, then turned like he was going to catch it, but the Giants knew that play because they ran it before, and they had 3 Giant players around Jawan Johnson, right around the line of scrimmage. Now, actually, he was 2 or 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And I was like, don't throw that ball. Just throw it and throw it as an incompletion. And he threw it to Jawan Johnson, and you seen him looking at the defenders behind Jawan Johnson, and they automatically hit him, and it was a loss on the play. It was a 3rd down play, by the way. Like, why not just throw it in the ground, bro? Don't take the loss, you know, but it is what it is. But this is the decision. So it's like, it's very weird watching them play because it messes me. It trips me out because I'm like, I'm trying to, you know, make sense. Not trying to, but I make sense of it. Like, man, how has this guy been in the league for 11 years and he has these bad habits? How did he survive in the league with these bad habits? I mean, how did he do it? How did he get $150 million out of us and he can't even consistently go from left to right or right to left fan through progressions? I mean, how is this making sense? And then there's some people will be in the section say, you don't like Carr. And I'm like, dude, no, I don't have a problem with Derek Carr. I'm telling you what's on tape. So I just stopped telling them. Because these people, whoever's saying this, they don't even read, they don't watch no goddamn tape. They'll watch the game and say this and make excuses for them. I'm not in the excuse making business. Because the real diehards wouldn't stand. They're like, man, Q, that's excuses. You know, I'm not in the excuse making business. I can't be in the excuse making business. I'm in the results business. I can't make excuses. As long as I'm making excuses, I'm not getting no answers. I have to be able to pinpoint exactly what's going on. And the tape tells you everything. If you don't believe me, go look at the tape. The all 22, study the film and watch Carr's head. Watch where his head's facing. It's very clear. The tape shows when the ball is snapped and he has to read the field. Either staring this guy down over here or he's staring over there. He don't go left to right or right to left. He doesn't do it. He stares down guys here. And some case, like at least 50% of the times when he did read the defense, he didn't let the play develop. And there was no pressure on him. Like you guys literally running. And instead of watching the play develop to see if you have an option there, he just immediately checks it down. He checks it down. Boom. That helps pad his stats and make his accuracy look a lot better than what it is what it does. But it don't necessarily always translate to success for you. It also shows why you're not getting that ball moving on them 3rd downs like you're supposed to, and a lot of those drives are ending in punts. You can watch every one. They got it on tape. They show it to you twice. They show it from the side so you can see all the wide receivers, and then they either show you from the back where you can see his head turn, or from the front where you can see where he's looking at, and it is very clear. You can see that head looks there and it stays over there, or it look over here and it stay over there. It's clear. So I stopped talking to them people because I'm like, man, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Y'all not reading, y'all not looking at no tape, man. Get your NFL subscription and go look at the goddamn tape, or join Patreon to know what I'm talking about, man. Join our Patreon. You can see it for yourself. All right. But anyway, shout out to the fan. Appreciate y'all. I don't know about Cliff Kingsbury, bro. I'm not Joe Brady. I don't know, bro. Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Brady are question marks for me. Although I do like Kingsbury somewhat, but I don't know if I'm ready for those guys to be the head coach of my team after we just can't see. The thing is, fam, you don't want another, I guess what? You had Sean Payton. You had Dennis Allen. It's a possibility the Saints can miss the playoff for the 4th year. Whoever comes here is got to be able to take the tickets. What he's getting, he's not going to get a brand new, fresh team. He's going to get older players on his team. So there'll still be a requirement for him to win for the next 2 years to get the team to the playoffs before things flip and you have a rebuilt team with new players that's coming here. You know, in 3 years from now, the team is going to be a DeMario, Tyrann Mathieu. All of that is going to change. In 3 short years from now, all those guys, Cam, all those guys are going to be retired. Carr's going to be gone. Elvin Kamara. It's going to be a total new team on the way there. So you're going to have like $200-something odd million free up on the cap. So you're going to have a brand new team. So whoever you pick next year will have to be a guy. And this is the thing, because we're talking about all these coaches. But it's going to have to be a coach to understand that he ain't going to have all that money to work with because of Mickey Loomis screwing up the cap. So he have limited resources with money. He'll have to be tasked to win with Derek Carr as a quarterback because Mickey ain't going to let you get rid of him. And that is Mickey Loomis making the calls. So we trying to pick a coach. Who's picking the coach? Is Mickey Loomis picking the coach? And do you have trust that Mickey Loomis will to make the right coaching call if he's the guy? So if he's the guy making a call for the coaches, I don't trust the process because how bad he screwed up with this Dennis Allen thing. And then he didn't let it go quietly into the realm to the night. He's sitting up here jeffing for him, saying that the man is he's a great coach. Even though he's not. You're saying that because you can't even take the L. The guy didn't even take the L on that. He made that bad call. And he's trying to play it like, well, you know, it's just injuries. That's the reason why he didn't excel. And that's not the truth. And Mickey Loomis was backing every F thing that guy was doing. When he threw his team under the bus, Mickey Loomis didn't drag him aside and say, hey, man, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that, Dennis. Oh, I know. You can't do it. You didn't do it because even Hurst said thought he was going to get fired. Every F thing he did, from backstabbing players, from violating competition protocols with players, every F thing that guy did, Mickey Loomis backed him up. He didn't talk to none of them players. Only time he wanted to go and talk to them players was at the end of the year when that bullshit talk wasn't going to hurt nothing. Did he go and talk to the players when the Saints was in the midst of a 7-game losing streak? Did he go talk to them after 3 losses? 4 losses, 5 losses, 6 losses, 7 losses. He didn't talk to none of them people, but he going to wait to the end of the year to have a conference call with the players to go in there and berate them and tell them it's not going to be comfortable for him this year. Where was his talk at during the losing streak? Because he's a joke. I keep telling y'all that, man. The dude's a joke. So if he's making a call for the head coaches, man, I don't have any confidence in that at all. We just keep it all right. I don't have any confidence in that at all. And everything I'm saying to y'all can go look the shit up for yourself. I'm not pulling this stuff out of the thin air. This is what it is and how it is. The guy can't be trusted to make a competent head coaching call. He can't. Because whatever he's going to do, he's going to try to direct the scenario where he picks up a coach that will be agreeable to what his demands are. And I can't have that. I can't go for that. That's why I've been telling people, don't go back there and give your money to them people. Still hold out. Don't go there and buy no shirts. Don't go there and buy no more. Don't go buy no tickets. Don't go up in that goddamn dome. Still hold your money out and wait to see what they're going to do. Don't give your support yet. We got Dennis Allen out, but this is not it. You won the battle, but the war rages on. We still have stuff to do. So don't fully support these people yet. We need to see what they're going to do with this Mickey Loomis character, because he's the next shoe to fall. He needs to be redirected. Dennis Lauscher needs to be redirected off their positions. They need a facelift at the top of the organization, but underneath Gale. You need football people there of youth that has some resume of success. You need that in the upper echelons of the organization, not old Mickey and an ineffective Dennis Lauscher who don't know nothing. You know, I'm just keeping it real. This is real spill. That's why the Saints have these problems. And you can't have a coach look at tape and see that your quarterback is staring down people and not correct him on it. Like, listen, dude, listen, man, I can't have you out there doing this. This is not going to cut it. You can't do it. You can't. That's a violation. You won't win that way. And smart teams are going to take you apart because they're going to just read that guy's eyes right to the where the ball is going. They're going to either lead to a pick or somebody getting their ass knocked off. It's just what it is. I'm just telling you. Yeah, but you going into that time frame, and based on that, you still, if you look at Cliff Kingsbury, it's Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Brady is not going to get that done. They're not. Whoever that coach is going to be, if Mickey is running the search, whoever that coach is going to be a guy that has to be agreeant to what he's been doing with the team over the next couple of years. So they would have to basically say, yeah, we're going to be cash strapped for the next couple of years. You're going to have to win with limited resources. You're going to have to draft, and we're going to operate through free agency, and you're going to have to basically build on what we have now for the next 2 years to win with that. See, the job comes with restriction, unlike a Chicago Bear job where they got a new quarterback with potential and and more money than you know, this type of stuff. And it's just this. The Saints have a lot of issues with the team. Money, all that. Old team, money, a quarterback that you can't do nothing with. The guy keeps getting, he's unfortunate, he gets hurt. And as you get older, you got an escalating contract on an aging player who keeps getting hurt. So who gonna want that? But a Willie Green type of coach. Willie Green, for the Pelicans, he's like, I ain't gonna be a coach before, anywhere else. I might as well take the job. Okay, you can have the job, but David Griffin, will pick all of your assistant coaches. Okay, now will you tell me where they do that at? But he took the job though. Because he a yes man. He took the job. I do it. I'll do it. That's what happened. You want a yes man for your coach? Because that's what kind of dude it is. So, like I said, man, Loomis, it depends on what's going on with Loomis, because he will try to finagle the future, because he ain't gonna want you to break these contracts. He's gonna want you to stay with these contracts. And what he's done, he's gonna manipulate the play so you stay on this path. And it's not a smart path, but he's gonna stick you to that. So where is his future in that regard? That's the question, not the head coach. Because I don't think he picks a competent head coach. I don't think he knows what a competent head coach is. He did this thing when Tom Benson was still alive. He's picking these coaches by himself now. And look how badly he missed on Dennis Allen, then stood up there and protected them after he got fired on the 7-game losing streak. Throwing his team under the bus, apologizing to the Falcons, but never to the Who Dat Nation. You don't deserve an apology, but I'm going to apologize to them. But Mickey never said nothing. He always talked. He had his back, gave him thumbs up. So that's what I'm saying. This guy is a problem. Him and Lauscher, we have to redirect those guys. We need to redirect them, because I don't trust any decision these guys make in terms of head coaches, because the coach will be some type of puppet that will be used to manipulate the team based on Mickey's thought process on the cap. You see what I'm saying? That's my whole thing saying that, man. I don't trust. Yeah, Jack says I don't trust none of them. And you're right to do that. That's the whole point. The whole point is why we talk about head coaches. What's going to happen with the general manager? Well, we'll decide on that once we still stay on our square and not throw no support there. Just like we did to get Dennis Allen out of here, we need to shift that, keep that same energy, and make those and hold on our demands for a shift in the top of the organization. The word on the street, they're supposed to be making some changes. What those are, we'll see. And when we make the change, because nobody's going to be inspired to support the Saints if Mickey Loomis is still holding his current position. And they know that. They know it's time for him to be shifted off that general manager position. He don't have the vision, and he's delusional. It's time to go. Been here long enough. He collected enough checks. All right. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to get on up out of here, man. I appreciate you guys for being in the stream. I did 2.5 hours tonight on this Wednesday. I might be back Thursday or maybe Friday, probably be Thursday or Friday. We'll see how it falls, because we have the Pelican Post Game Report popping up. I'd like to thank all you guys for chiming on the stream. Do me a service. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share the show on your social media feed and Saints groups, wherever that helps out the broadcast. Also, feel free to give our sponsors some love, Mint Mobile, T. Chinley, and Bet Online. The links in the description section below. Also, merch links, and to support the platform, you can check out our link tree. It has all that information in it. So with that being said, man, I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of y'all night. And damn, it's Thursday coming in here already, man. Thursday already. How about that? I'm going to holler at y'all on the flip side. Much love. Who that to you?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the WR Media Network.
Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That too.